Hello, my darlings. Hello, 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 and welcome and good evening to this semi impromptu uh, live stream with the BS Talks. Well, it's semi impromptu. Where I say that is this the stream is due to overwhelming requests, especially on Sunday. Everybody's talking about when are you gonna do a show about Palestine and Israel and all the fuckeries, I guess you could say, that's been happening in that time. Well, I mean, I thought I covered some of the stuff on Saturday, where I actually was in the midst of the savages, if you like, and also on a speaker's corner. But here we are. Here we are. Semi. I don't know what a semi is. But yeah, welcome one and all. Shalom, lahaim, wassalamu alaikum, and durud to those who know what that is. If you don't know, you don't have to worry. Never trust anyone that doesn't eat bacon. EDF.com UK. Welcome, EDF. Welcome, Maserati. Mike, Under the Glass Moon. Hello. It's been a long time. I think I've seen that Nick in the chat. And Mustafa. Camel. So welcome one and all. As I said, shalom, salam, and durud, konnichiwa. And now we have Mr. Ned. And by the way, I did promise Ned that I would do this yesterday, and unfortunately I was unable to because I was driving, and then when I got home I was just tired and just could not bring myself. I was actually on Vellies whilst I was in the car. Do not recommend that. Don't live stream, and don't talk on streams and drive, kids. But yeah, I was on there, but I lost my connection, and then I just couldn't be asked when I got home. And today I've had a bunch of stuff, but I didn't want to disappoint Ned more than anyone, really. Ned, I felt Ned's when Ned said, there I was ready to jump on your stream, and I disappointed him. I let him down, and I feel some way about that, Ned. I do. So this is for you, Ned, and all the others who complained about the fact that I still haven't done a show about the old what's it called? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to. I realized something. I forgot to. There we go. I forgot to actually set up the streams. I'm just gonna go through some very quick stuff, Ned, and then the panel shall be available to you, sir, and others who wish to jump on and discuss some discussings. So yeah. So what I'm gonna go through is a very quick and sort of short, sharp recap of the Palestinian-Israeli situation in the last few days, and also a quick recap of what's it called, and then just get to the panel. Okay, boys and girls, real sharp, real short. This was Mohammed Hijab, obviously at with Piers Morgan. We can maybe perhaps watch that and mock that as a panel, but the Palestinian-Israeli situation, what happened? On Saturday, the 8th of October, or the 7th of October, I believe. Yep, Saturday the 7th. The Hamas fighters of Palestine launched an all-out offensive against the Israeli people of South Israel, effectively on the borders of Gaza. They launched a combination of attacks with like paragliders from land, from sea, and they essentially overwhelmed the security borders of Israel and managed to get into Israeli territory, and they slaughtered about, I believe the last count I heard was 1,300 people. We're talking women, children, and innocent, civilian men. They literally raped and killed women at a festival. I think it was a festival of the sort of disco. I don't know, rave in the desert, something like that. They kidnapped a bunch of women and children, which, by the way, there are actually videos. The irony is that the Hamas, the Palestinian supporters, show these videos of these kidnapped children as if to say that look how well they're looking after these kids. These are some of the video images of the children that Hamas has kidnapped. Some of them, the parents they've killed, and they're holding them as hostages so that if Israel bombs Gaza, they would then kill these children. But people are showing these videos, Palestinian supporters are showing these videos as how well are the Hamas fighters looking after the Palestinian of these children. That's the irony here, that they went in and kidnapped babies, and then the Palestinian supporters in London were trying to convince me, no, they don't kill children, they look after them when they kidnap them. Insanity, absolute insanity. But all of these things are available, and these are some of the other footage, which, to be honest with you, I can't really show on YouTube. That's why I'm sort of doing it in this sort of way, because I can't actually show you the actual the gruesome stuff that is actually on Twitter. Here's a video. This is the type of videos that the Palestinians have done for themselves, where they've got this point of view Call of Duty style cameras of them shooting and assassinating innocent civilians. And then the Palestinian supporters deny this, by the way. They say, no, the Hamas fighters don't do these things. And yet they literally are trying to become social media influencers through this bollocks. They've got cameras strapped to their heads showing the atrocities that they're committing. But we're supposed to, just don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe your lying eyes, people. Of course, this was Stockholm in 1950 something, and Stockholm today. This is Stockholm. This was Stockholm, the beautiful Swedish paradise, high trust society, wonderful, mostly white people, I would imagine, because Stockholm is full of white people. And then Stockholm today. Just want to give you guys some perspective of what is happening in Europe, of course. And this is Stockholm today in Europe. Of course, I have my own footage. And I say I'm flying through this, but this was me on Saturday in London's Trafalgar Square.
Something's happening.
Did you guys catch that?
Something's happening. God damn. Okay. Shit's getting real, people.
This is London, 2023. You know when John Cleese said London is no longer an English city? You kind of get it now. You guys kind of, is this becoming somewhat more apparent? Is it becoming a little bit more like, yeah, maybe that's kind of true? Does this look like an English city to you? Is this an English city? Is this an English city you guys want to, you remember, or you want to actually even fucking be in? I mean, the irony is this an English city you actually even want to be in? Even if this is an English city. Because it sure as shit ain't no English city that I want to be in. Anyway, guys, I'm posting the link to the old pin it. Yeah, I'm posting the link to the chat, to the StreamYard for now. And there's our boy Ned. Hello, Mr. Ned.
Good evening. Good evening to
Good
you.
evening
I
to
hope
you,
you're
sir.
well.
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm still fiddling about with me knobs. Just a second. I'm just having trouble. There you go.
You usually do that either early in the morning or late at night before you go to bed, sir.
You
I
had to
find
go
it
there, didn't you?
relaxing. It usually puts me to sleep quite
Just had to
easily.
go there, didn't you?
Yeah, I tend to avoid live streams when I'm fiddling with my knob. But, you do you, boy. You do you, my man. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We just went straight there. Straight to smut. It's always with Ned.
Can I just say one thing? There's been a couple of people that are sort of saying stuff in the side chat, and you know how sort of moderate I try to be. I'd just be really really careful. Some people are actually sort of calling certain groups of people animals, and the thing is that could we just try and if we are this isn't my panel and it's not for me to say, but could we try and keep if we do have a conversation, we don't just completely um,
Devolve.
turn it. Sorry.
Devolve into crudeness.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is that it just becomes sort of over sort of race hate. You know what I mean? And
I see. I know what you
we've
mean.
got our differences and there's different arguments and stuff. But let's try and keep it sort of civil if that's possible. I know that that's really difficult at this particular time.
All
Because
right.
I'm probably going to say things that is going to annoy the hell out of base Welshmen. I know that. I have a way of really pissing off base Welshman, and if I was in a room with him at this moment in time, I'd probably be bouncing off the walls.
Let me. A lot of people are saying your mic is low, Ned. So I'm going to increase your volume over here.
Okay. All right. I might
I hope everybody's good here. Just let me know in the chat if everyone because I think my mic is overly loud anyway because I always set it to way too loud. But I've increased your volume from my end for the
I
audience.
find that deeply touching. Thank you very much.
So yeah, I'm just keeping my volume. I think
That make a difference? Does
I
that make a difference?
I'll be honest. You sound perfectly fine to me. It's the audience at the other end. I hope that is coming through, but I can't really tell from this point. So let's just go with it. You sound
Yeah,
good
well, I
here.
mean, in all honesty, everybody, you're not missing anything. It's the usual fucking old waffle from a silly old cunt. You know what I mean? So, you know, you're not missing anything from anything I'm saying. You know,
That's all good. That's
it's
all good.
absolutely,
Keep
it's
going.
absolutely desperate. It's the whole thing is absolutely desperate because it seems that what happened is going to play right into the hands of Hamas. The rapprochement that Israel was trying to actually achieve with the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Jordan. This all seems to be sort of crumbling down. Mahmoud Abbas, it seems that there's talk that he's losing support because in some ways he's been seen to be talking to Israel, talking to America, and there's sort of what it was saying on the BBC that they were hinting at. One of their analysts was sort of hinting at is there's a possibility of like a second Arab Spring. People are absolutely mad at what Israel have done, rightly or wrongly, right? And it's that anger, that rage is being turned on the leaderships of like Saudi and the leaderships of Jordan and on Mahmoud Abbas. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but that's
The thing
what
is,
the
Mahmoud
BBC
Abbas doesn't really have a lot to say because he's the PLO. He is the West Bank kind of leader. He doesn't really have a lot of weight with Hamas. He doesn't. He can go ahead and try to
No, well, he's
interject,
more
but
the West Bank. He's
exactly.
apparently he's. I understand that Hamas is Gaza, and I understand that he's part of the Palestinian Authority, which is
Precisely.
the West Bank.
Precisely. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have a lot of pull with the Hamas authorities because he doesn't run Gaza. He runs the West Bank, what they call the West Bank and the occupied territories, which is. I mean, I'm going to pull up a map in a second and try to show the audience what I mean about that. But essentially, Palestine is in two bits. It's not just one location. So it's kind of got it's kind of like, think of it like this: you've got the Palestinian territories in the West Bank, and then you've got Gaza, which is kind of like Monaco or the Vatican City, a city state essentially. That is what essentially Gaza is. Gaza is its own. It's its own kingdom, if you like. It doesn't really even. It doesn't answer to Israel. It doesn't answer to the PLO either. It's Hamas that runs that little portion.
Can I jump in here a second?
Yeah, hello, Waste.
Yeah,
Based,
long
sorry,
time
Based.
no
Big up.
see, Based.
Am I right in saying Mossad funded Hamas, and the reason why they funded Hamas was because they wanted the PLO out. So.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily get that exact what's it called? That exact sort of information in that way. What happened was back in 2000 and I believe 5 or 2006, Hamas essentially. Well, what the idea for Israel was, we will pull out of Gaza, because Gaza was fully occupied, or it was mostly occupied by Israel, and they actually built settlements in the region we call Gaza. So they actually had Jewish houses, Jewish farms, what do you call it? Damn it! What are those things? Greenhouses, irrigation, all of that stuff. They were doing all of that stuff, and it was basically, and Israel soldiers were on the streets of Gaza the whole time. And the Palestinians for decades complained, "This is our city, this is our territory. You're occupying us. You're colonizers. Blah blah blah." And they actually had some degree of legitimacy in that area for sure, because that's what Israel was doing. So Israel said, "Fine." 2005, 2006, they pulled out. They forcefully dragged Jews out of their houses.
Yeah, they actually closed the settlements, didn't they?
Yes.
The Israeli
And they
settlements.
came with Israeli IDF soldiers and dragged Jews out of their house and dragged them out of that area. The Jews didn't want to go. Obviously, this is my house. I built it. I've worked decades to maintain it and keep it. Why the hell would I want to leave? But the Israeli government came and dragged Jews out. Said, no, this is Israelis. This is Palestinians. We're going to give it back to them. You guys have to go. We'll give you housing and whatever in some other part of Israel. So they pulled them all out, and then this was some analyst that I was listening to. His idea was that Israel's thought was, if we give, Base, your cam's on. I don't know. It's up to you, but you can cam up, you can not cam up. It's up to you. Anyway, if we give Palestinians an election, allow them to have an election so that they can then choose their governments for themselves, then we would effectively cede democracy in Palestine, or the Palestinian people, and they will then elect their own officials, and we will hopefully bring them closer towards a Europe.
Normalization.
Yes, normalization, a Western style democracy. They'll have constitutions written out. They'll do all of this.
Would you trade,
Dream.
Well, exactly. That was the naivete of the Israelis and the Western powers, where they thought they could, because this is the same. This is the same, by the way, in Iraq, the same in Afghanistan. The Westerners don't understand the mindset of the Muslim and the Arab and the Middle Easterners. They just don't. They don't get it. They think that we all want the same thing. Everybody wants to have their kids, and they want to take their kids to school and freedom and da.
If we give them freedom, then everything's going to.
It's all good.
Be all
McDonald's and Starbucks will spring up like magic. Everybody will be wearing Levi's, and life will be dandy. But they don't realize there are certain groups of people who, with their own hand, if you gave them a vote, they would vote dictatorship upon themselves. So that's what they did. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't blame the Palestinians for voting Hamas.
But wait there, though. They say, freedom. It's like a westernized democracy, which is nonsense anyway. So that just because we want to say, this is how we do things, and this is how we want you to do things, which is basically what the whole point of going into these places are. Yeah,
because they have, this is the model that they have. They have the American, the British model of constitutional monarchy or a republic, the French, that kind of model. That's the model that they like. It worked for us. We were killing each other hundreds of years ago. We were at each other's throats, the French, the Germans, etc. In fact, the only world wars ever fought is amongst the Europeans.
If it's the wrong type of democracy, though, we'll knock it out.
But what I mean is, from a Westerner's perspective, from a European perspective, they're like, if it's good enough for us, it's bloody good enough for these camel jockeys. That's what they're saying. I'm not joking. This is actually one of the quotes during the time when they were partitioning Pakistan and Afghanistan, and they were drawing these borders. The British were like, we have a constitutional monarchy. If it's good for us, it's bloody good for these fucking savages. I'm not joking. That's the kind of mindset that they had. You guys think that like the British and the Westerners, the Americans, look upon the West, East and Middle East and like, oh, these are such sophisticated people with such vast histories we must respect. No, that shit only came about in the last 20 years of wokeness. That shit hasn't been around. Most of the time, they looked it over there and went, if these camel jockeys can't accept a constitutional monarchy like we have, they're savages. That's it. So, based when you say, oh, they wanted to, they had these foolish ideas of a Western democracy because they genuinely think this is the best way. This is the best way of life, and so we give them that, and these guys should bloody be grateful for it. But they're not. They don't want that. They don't actually want that lifestyle and that system. So here we are. And by the way, I will say this. The reason the Palestinians in Gaza voted for Hamas, and this is a genuine thing, is because Hamas was the only organization that actually did something for them. The PLO's Yasser Arafat did nothing. Yasser Arafat was a greedy son of a bitch who enriched himself, same as this Abbas, same as most of the PLO leaders. They enriched themselves. They have their own families, their wives and kids in France and other parts of Europe, living in lavish, mansions. And he himself had a lavish compound. And they don't give a shit about the Palestinian people. Hamas was giving food, clothes, blankets. They were providing schools for the Gazans.
Housing as well.
Housing.
Can anyone tell me why Jordan and Egypt don't want to accept any refugees from a fellow Muslim country?
Because they don't want. But the trouble is that in Jordan at the moment, I believe that there's 1 million refugees there from 1948.
Yeah,
1948.
No,
they don't want to. The problem is that once they leave.
Yeah, haven't they processed them since 1948?
No, because technically Palestine is kind of Jordan as well, because they the British divvied all this area. The British controlled all that area.
Do you think they know?
And they created Jordan. Jordan's another artificially created nation, by the way.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Based. Can I just explain? What actually happened was that when there was the Wars of Independence in 1948, when Israel got its independence, there was a massive, great big war between Israel and all the every surrounding country.
Yeah.
Right. A whole load of Palestinians were actually fled. So
to Jordan.
They would actually and all the other Lebanon, all the other countries.
Tell me what.
Please, just let me land.
Yeah, let him land. Hold on. Let him land.
They set up all of these refugee camps, right? And the thing is that there's still many of them are still there. Not all of them, but many of them are still there. And if you actually look at Gaza, that's a huge. Some people have actually said it's a huge refugee camp. And one of the reasons why the Egyptians don't want to open up Rafah is because they're frightened that if they allow, let's say, 1 million Palestinians from Gaza into Egypt, they ain't gonna go back. They will be.
That's exactly my point, though. That's exactly my point. So if Egypt and Jordan aren't going to take them, who's going to take them?
Well,
and like you said, they're not going to go back. They're not going back.
They see this as their home. They see that Gaza as their home. They see them. It's like me turning around.
Wait there. You've just you've gone from one side to the next. 1 minute you said they're not going to go home, which I tend to agree with, sadly. And two, then you say, well, this is their home. This is home. They're not going to leave their home. So which one is it?
Okay. Let me give you this, Ned. Based. First of all, hello, Wendy. Is that Wendy? Hello, Wendy. Wendy. I just want to confirm it because I don't want to get pulled.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi.
Hello. No, thank you. I just wanted to confirm it was you before I switched the screens because I've I don't want to get P-bombed. Based. The thing is, there's two aspects to the fact that they don't let Jordanians and Egyptians don't let Palestinians come into their country. Number one.
What about any Arab country?
Well, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Number one, they see that the fact that they're still refugees or still in that sort of refugee camp status as a a mark of they will return. So there's always this political aspect of we are going to return these people to their homeland, which they see all of that region, including Israel, by the way, as Palestine. So they don't give them any kind of citizenship. And this is the thing.
They're not there to
Imagine,
settle.
imagine.
They're not there to become
Yes, they don't want them to exactly. Imagine if a refugee came to Britain and after 40 years Britain didn't give them a residency. The British, the lefties would lose their collective shit. Their brains would melt if a person in this country gets a resident. I know people, Iranians, who've had full British passports in 5 years, from boat to passport was like 5 years. That's how quick you get this. It's amazing. There's no wonder people want to come to Britain or Western Europe, because they are amazingly tolerant and lovely, and yet still always being smacked over the head as, oh, you're the racist. You assholes have no idea how racist some countries are. If you imagine being a refugee in a refugee camp, by the way, not just a refugee status on paper, you're not allowed to even live in the country. Oh, damn. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Oh, is that you? Just going back while I think Banksy's answering the phone. Based, one of the things, one of the questions you asked was Hamas set up as controlled opposition by Mossad? I don't know whether that's true or not, but what I do know is that the Viet Cong was set up by the Americans during the Second World War, and then they ended up sort of kicking the Americans out of Vietnam. In Afghanistan, we armed and trained. Is it the Mujahideen? Al Qaeda. Yes, we actually trained them, set them up, told them how to do their job, and then they turned it on us. Right. So there's other examples.
We had to learn by, Ned.
Sorry.
They're mistakes that we had to learn by. Yeah, that we can't trust them.
I think it's like the American. I think it's just like the American way.
You can't trust your own governments. That's what it means. It means that the Bay of Tonkin, where it was a false flag to set the Vietnam War, and that was 68,000 Americans dead.
There was a lot of men. Well, a lot of people. Sorry.
Pearl Harbor.
Vietnam War, totally unnecessary.
Yeah, but that's it. Especially when it was started on a false flag. Pearl Harbor, there was reports coming
we all
in.
know that was old Roosevelt knew that was going to happen.
They ignored Pearl Harbor. You know, the babies in the incubators for the Iraq one. That was another fucking false flag. Went to war on shit like that.
But just going back to your original point about controlled opposition and Mossad training up Hamas. I don't know whether that's true or not, but the thing is that there is like a kind of short-term, immediate thinking that if you train up the local people as proxies to do your fighting in Afghanistan, right, then it's not American boots on the ground. It's not American soldiers that are doing the fighting and dying. And it's exactly the same in Vietnam, that we didn't have boots on the ground in Vietnam. The Americans didn't have boots on the ground in Vietnam. So we actually sent people in.
Hang on, Ned. The Americans did have boots on the ground.
No, this is in Second World War. The Viet Cong were formed and trained by the Americans during World War II. And then they used everything that they'd used. They used everything that the Americans had taught them, and they used all the weapons that the Americans gave them to actually boot the French out of Vietnam, and then to boot the Americans out of Vietnam. Right? There's a long history of Americans.
My point is, you can't trust your own government.
Hang on, are we saying that Hamas isn't a terrorist group and that
no, I'm not saying anything like that. No, I'm not saying anything. No, I'm not saying that at all.
Wendy, what I said was, like, I've read that Mossad, right, funded Hamas from literally just a couple of AKs to where they are today, and the reason why they did it was what Ned was saying was that they were that it's like your friends, your enemies your friend, or whatever.
Yeah, so basically, I get
that. They thought they could use them against PLO, and as it turns out, they've now taken over. You know, PLO used to have Gaza. No, they don't. So yeah, that's what we're saying. We're not saying they're not
No,
terrorists
I'm
or
not
anything like
sorry. Yeah, I misunderstood. Just like, didn't Biden recently give, I don't know, millions to Iran, and
that.
now he's getting upset over that?
Yeah, freed up a whole load of funding. Well, what happened was that Trump had actually frozen a whole load of Iranian assets, or the
Right.
West had, and Biden, as a sort of olive leaf to try and build sort of friendship with Iran, it released an awful lot of money that we'd confiscate. It
And they
was
promised,
Iranian money,
and
right?
they
But it was
promised it
being
wouldn't go
held
to
in
Yes,
banks.
yeah.
humanitarian.
Well,
It would only go to humanitarian aid.
based.
And a couple of weeks later, boom, boom,
Yeah,
Hamas.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not as easy as that. Actually, technically, America could confiscate that money indefinitely, because there's a situation that happened. That money that Iran gave to the United States, I think, and some other countries, was for weapons. This was during the Shah's era in the 1970s. So the deal was that the Shah purchases weapons from America for Iranian oil, and this went into hundreds of millions of dollars. Especially, I mean, if you actually take inflation into account, this will be billions of dollars by now. But nevertheless, this money was for arms. But what happened was, the Iranian regime changed in 1979, 1980, and so Iran essentially became a new country, because they totally changed the name of the country from from Iran to the Islamic Republic of Iran. So technically, it wasn't the same country anymore.
The money, didn't they? And everyone just kept the money and said, "No, we ain't gonna."
Exactly, they essentially froze the money because they considered Iran as now, with the new regime, as a threat, and so on and so forth. But actually, Iran isn't technically the same country that gave the money anymore. So the mullahs are asking for the money, but it's not the mullahs' money. It was the money that came from Iran during Shah's time.
50 million, I think, the UK gave back.
I think so. I think it was, in that sort of region. But generally, the money itself doesn't necessarily, as in these countries, don't necessarily need to give the money back. But of course, they want to normalize relations with Iran. They want to soften relations. So that's the reason why, Trump, or not Trump, Obama and Biden do what they're doing, because again, they're still under the impression that these are good actors. Unfortunately, they are not good actors. So you're not going to. And besides, to be perfectly honest with you guys, this $6 million that Biden gave back to Iran, that's not the money that's been funneling to Hamas. And Iran's been funneling money to Hamas through so many other means in the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's not like 6 million was going to make a massive difference.
Billion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about billions, but certainly in the hundred, because obviously Iran has its own financial issues as well, and they're very.
Okay. No. America paid Iran $6 billion a couple of weeks ago. That's what the bill was. $6 billion.
They gave 6 billion, not 6 million. I thought it was 6 million.
Billion.
They gave them 6. Are you sure? I have to check that. But yeah, I mean, either way,
we gave them back 50 million not long ago.
Yeah, I know during Obama's era.
6 billion doesn't seem like a million miles away.
I'm not entirely sure it's 6 billion though. I thought it was in the millions. But either way, I mean, this money, again, I don't really see this money itself being of a major issue, whether it goes to Iran, because they're funneling money to Hamas anyway, and Hezbollah, because essentially, well, not so much Hamas, but Hezbollah is Iran's, or the mullahs, mercenary army that they have in reserve, that if the Iranian people ever mess around or do anything serious that's going to overthrow their government, they will bring in these fighters, and they have done during the last year or two, during Mahsa Amini's protests. They brought in Hezbollah fighters, because Hezbollah fighters are Arabs, they're not Iranian. They're much more likely to kill Iranians than Iranian soldiers and Iranian police officers are. Even though some of them will obey orders, but a lot of Iranians will find it hard to kill Iranians. But Hezbollah doesn't give a shit. Hezbollah will mow them down without a second thought. So a lot of them, actually, a lot of protesters in Iran say that these people that are shooting Iranians in the streets are actually Hezbollah, they're speaking Arabic to each other. They're not speaking Farsi. Okay, I've got Wendy wants to share her screen, and Jupiter is with us. Let me bring Jupiter on. Hello, Jupes, and let's see what Wendy wants to share. Hold on, one second,
Say
Wendy.
that it was it's just to say it was 6 billion, Banksy.
Oh, it is. Wow,
Yeah.
damn. So yeah, there you go then. Wendy
Oh,
with our fact checker, our checker. So thank you for that. Hold on, let
Good
me
evening,
actually
Jupiter.
put
Good
it in
evening.
there.
Good evening, Jupiter.
6,000
I-
million.
Hi.
Could-
6,000 million. Man.
Sorry,
Could I
guys.
could I just say that the whole thing about Hezbollah, that's the really worrying thing. You know, that this might actually inflame the north. You know, at the moment this is happening down in Gaza. This could completely set light to the Lebanon. It could set light to Jordan. It could set light to the West Bank.
Sweden,
It could set light to East Jerusalem, and
France,
this could really escalate
Italy.
badly. In the last 2
Greece.
days, the Israeli Air Force bombed a whole load of airfields in Syria, and they reckon that the reason why they did that was because some intel had established that they thought the Iranians were air freighting weapons to Hezbollah in anticipation of some kind of I don't know what.
A larger conflict, expanding the conflict from Gaza to northern Israel, and the thing is, I've been hearing
But doesn't-
reports that Syria.
Sorry,
Oh,
does-
sorry, go on.
Sorry, doesn't Israel fire rockets over into Lebanon, and then Hezbollah will fire one back every now and then?
Well, it's. I mean, the official story. Now, this is the official story versus whether it's true or not. Is that the only time has Israel fires into Lebanon is in self-defense. Is when Hezbollah has attacked them in some form or fashion. They don't tend to want to attack Lebanon if it's not provoked. That's the official story. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Over the decades that this conflict has been going on, and I've been keeping an eye on a lot of it, there are times where Israeli soldiers will go and kill a child, a Lebanese child, or a Palestinian child, or just generally, arrest, imprison certain groups of Palestinians or Lebanese, and then obviously Hamas or Hezbollah will react to that. That sort of intimidation or interrogation, or what I mean, the provocation, and then Israel turns around and goes, "See, they attacked us. Now we have to go level them." So there are moments that has happened. No, I'm not saying this was the Saturday issue. That wasn't it. Saturday is 100% Hamas's fault. 100%. This was not by minor provocations or stuff. But I have seen with my own eyes, back in the early 2000s, late 90s, Hamas soldiers shooting boys, 14-year-olds, 13-year-old boys. One of them was actually American, visiting his cousins, Palestinian kid, through the neck. The sniper shot him through the neck. And by the way, they shoot only through the headshots. They go for headshots because body shots are not guaranteed, a kill. You could survive a body shot potentially, but they mostly go for headshots. And I've seen it. And by the way, I saw a video of it back in the early 2000s, and this was all grainy sort of early internet stuff. They shot a reporter with a reporter's vest on through the neck again. That is their favorite targets.
Yeah, it was a BBC report on the same day they shot a German activist.
So no, this happens. I'm not here to just shill for Israel. I'm not here just to point out that Israel is bright, whiter than white and totally blameless. They have done lots of messed up shit over the years.
Can I just clarify one thing here? You know that they actually they train to do the headshot because of explosives, because of suicide.
Well,
bombs.
yeah, that's true.
Do you know when Charles Menendez was shot in Stockwell? Right, it was a headshot. It was a clean headshot, and apparently the order to do that had actually they had intelligence which proved to be wrong. That this guy was a suicide bomber, and he was going onto a train, and he was going to set off this bomb, right? And they just walked onto the train. And
the story, you're talking about the one in Britain, the Brazilian in Britain.
in Stockwell,
Yeah,
Oh,
got
it's
the
Stockholm.
panic.
Okay, okay.
just in
They got
Brixton.
everything
Oh.
wrong.
They actually, it was like, but a lot of these people had been like police officers that hadn't slept for
Dr.
like
Kelly,
3
wasn't
days.
it? Like Dr.
They
Kelly.
were making decisions. They'd not had any sleep,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the thing is that the order went right up to the top, and then it came right the way down,
Tony
take him
Blair
out.
down there, all
And
the
they
way from
literally
Tony Blair,
walked into
just
a
like
train,
Dr.
an
Kelly.
underground train, with people on it, and they just shot the
Oh,
bloke in the head,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean,
And it's apparently I don't know whether we still do it, but apparently if you're dealing with a terrorist situation, I don't know whether they did that on London Bridge, but our sort of armed police in that situation have authority to go for a headshot, not to
Yeah,
fuck
they've got
about.
to. They've got to, yeah.
well, yeah, because again, even
yeah,
with a body
obviously.
shot, like you said, if they're wearing some kind of bomb on their body, they could still pull the trigger. Sorry, detonate it. I mean, a lot of them though with these suicide vests, from what I understand, is they have a dead man switch anyway. So if the person gets shot and killed and they release the grip on the switch that they're holding, it automatically then explodes. So
Ned,
they usually hook them up in that form.
Ned, tell me what happened to Dr. Kelly.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Kelly.
Yeah, Dr.
Yeah.
David Kelly. Tell me what happened to Dr. David Kelly.
Assassinated, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wait
I
there,
mean,
no, wait there. Come on, let's hear it. Let's hear it now.
Well, no. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the inside skinny on.
You seem to know about what happened to the Brazilian chap. You seem to be like fluid on Earth.
Well, no, he's just saying that this is what the training is to go for headshots because of body.
He gives it. He gave the scenario what happened. He said that the agents were they didn't have enough sleep, they were tired, etc. And they had information to say he was. Well, I was just trying to work out. Obviously, he's gone with the government narrative there. I'm just wondering if the government narrative fitted David Kelly.
Well, David Kelly, government narrative is he committed suicide, right?
Well,
just like Epstein. Epstein committed suicide in his cell whilst he was on suicide watch, and Dr. Kelly committed suicide in the way the police said it, because we don't question the police here.
To a field,
Well,
based for what it's worth. I mean, I think that was genuinely a guy who committed suicide. He went out into the countryside, and he's a doctor. He is a GP.
Okay. Yeah.
Wasn't the politician
I don't know
as
any
well?
better.
Who was the politician who committed suicide?
Wait there, Banks. See, I knew Ned would have it. So he committed suicide. Yeah, in a field somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I tell you what you want to do is take notes from the paramedic who gave statements to say that they've never been to a suicide scene with so little blood. They've never seen anything like it.
Wait a minute. How did he kill himself? How did he kill himself?
He slashed his wrist, supposed to be.
Slashed his wrist.
Oh.
Well, maybe there was a vampire nearby, walking by. It's like all this blood, it's wasted. Might as well just slurp it up.
This paramedic, I believe, was either some like 18 years experience or in the 20 years experience.
Well, as I said, you never know. You're in the woods. You see an interview with a vampire, Twilight.
4 pints of blood just disappear into thin air.
No, I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I honestly don't know enough about it. I really don't. I'm not laughing because it's not funny. But the thing is I don't know enough about it to sort of comment. But it was my understanding that he was a GP, and I assumed, and I'm probably
he wasn't a GP.
He wasn't a GP, Ned.
That's what he was.
What was
he was at arms. He was the nuclear arms representative for the UK government at the time.
No, but he was a medical doctor as well, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was a medical doctor, but he wasn't a GP.
Well, okay. Well, that's something I'm going to have to.
So basically, Dave.
He was
Dr.
an expert.
David
He was a
Kelly,
weapons expert. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the big chief to do with the Iraq War, and he gave his advice, and it wasn't what they wanted to hear, and
So
basically they got rid of him.
Yep, there you go. It says he's a weapons expert. No. I'm just looking on Wiki at the moment. Yes, and it sort of says that there's a sort of
Yeah.
controversial death.
I find that that
Controversial.
Brazilian Dominguez, I find that very, very suspect. I find that whole scenario very suspect. So that's why I was wondering whether you were going to
Okay,
go down the same line.
guys, let's bring Jupiter in because she's been sitting patiently, and she also wanted to have a discussion about this on Sunday. So let's bring in Jupiter and let's go
Well,
with
she
that.
just said she's making a coffee. I don't know
Oh, is she?
whether.
Yes, okay, I'm back. Yeah, I
Oh,
haven't got much to say at the moment. I'm just listening because I know that you're more knowledgeable on it. And a lot of people were saying that they wanted your take on it being Iranian and the fact of Iran
Oh, I
being
see. I see.
involved and all of that. So we wanted your sort of like take on it from there.
Yeah, I mean, my take in a very quick nutshell, after all these years of discussing this stuff, is both sides are using this. The Palestinians, when it comes to their situation, is their cannon fodder. They are political pawns, and both sides, Hamas, PLO, as well as Israel, use these human beings as pawns in their game. Hamas knows and knew 100% without a shadow of a doubt when it came to what they were going to do, the mission the plans that they had for Saturday, it was going to result in about, I would say by the end of this, it will be a good 5 to 10,000 Palestinians dead. That is. I think I'm being conservative with those estimates, but by the time Israel is finished with Gaza, we're talking at least 10. It's basically what I see, what I've noticed. The pattern is it's almost a 10-to-1 ratio. 10 is Palestinians get killed for every Israeli, citizen that gets killed, and Israel has not, played footsie with this whatsoever. In the news and on the international, we don't do collective punishment. It is illegal. Da, 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 da. They fucking do collective punishment. They've been collectively punishing the Palestinians for decades. It's nonsense that anyone actually believes Israel doesn't do collective punishment. Of course they are. But the Hamas knew this. They know, but what does Hamas leadership think? These are just you gotta break a few eggs if you want to make an omelette. That's the mindset of these inhuman bastards. None of them care about Palestinians. All the assholes in front of the embassy in London don't give a shit about Palestinians. All the people protesting in Trafalgar Square don't give a shit about Palestinians. These people are either stupid, naive children, which was most of them on Saturday, or conniving, insidious bastards who absolutely know what they're doing and they know the consequences of their actions.
Everything's going to plan for Hamas at the moment. I mean, obviously the plan really was to provoke Israel, right? And then knowing that the population of Gaza are going to just, take a fucking hammering. And in response, then the Arab world will come.
We'll start to boycott Israel. And
well,
yeah.
Like I said, start attacking embassies, which seems to be a pretty hot thing now. I'm sure the police are all panicking now to all the embassies, putting much more security on the police on standby. Loads of vans on the corners and stuff. The usual thing.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Obviously this could like blow up quite, massively. Apart from like the civilians, obviously the Western world could blow up, and then Europe could blow up. I mean, it is a strength, though.
Yeah.
do you know what the Abraham Accords are? What based?
From what I understand, it's a treaty between Saudi Arabia, the Arab Emirates, and Israel.
Jordan, Jordan,
And
Morocco.
Jordan, yeah.
And Morocco. Based, what's actually happened is that there's been increasingly a rapprochement between all of the countries that Banksy's just mentioned, right? And they're starting to thaw out relations. They're starting to put consulates in these countries, Israeli consulates, and in turn, you're starting to get embassies in Israel, right? These were people that were like supposedly at one point sworn enemies. Because of the Abraham Accords, they're starting to actually sort of establish trade. Now, all of that is under threat today. Yeah. An awful lot. Saudi and Qatar are actually withdrawing from the Abraham Accords today because of what happened yesterday or today. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that Hamas has actually succeeded if it wanted to halt the Abraham Accords. because it seems to be happening.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing is that it does actually seem to be
Well, it wanted
inflaming.
to do, wasn't it?
Sorry.
I mean, they're all tucked up in the tunnels. Don't forget, they're all tucked up in the tunnels. The population are all in their houses, cowering while the Hamas are in the tunnels, and they're literally thinking, "Yes,
Yeah,
this is
but it's not.
brilliant."
But if you're actually looking at the bigger picture, what it's done is that it's inflamed passions across the Arab world. It looks
That's what I was
like
saying. That's my point.
Hezbollah. But it looks like Hezbollah are starting to raise its ugly head, and they're going to start sort of doing all kinds of crazy
Not
shit,
just the Arab
right?
world, though. Not
Right,
just the Arab
and then
world.
it's going to
It's
spread
happening.
out to sort of terrorist events across the Western world, maybe. I mean,
I think
and the
probably
other
right.
thing that, as I said earlier, that the
Hungary.
BBC
Yeah,
analyst
there
was
we are.
actually suggesting they're actually suggesting that the Arab populations in Jordan and the West Bank and in Gaza are starting to question their leadership. Right. Apparently, the Jordanian royal family is really quite cheery at the moment, quite concerned, because there are starting to get protests against the legitimacy of the Jordanian
That was
family.
my
Yeah.
point. As I said, the Arab world's going to step up, and the greater world will set up even the civilians, like you said, attacking embassies and consulates and stuff.
No, but if the let's say that the Jordanian royal family is toppled, or the Saudi royal family is toppled, what replaces it?
Most likely
Do you
something
think that
of
they're gonna
equivalent to the Muslim Brotherhood.
Brotherhood. Yeah.
Yeah, and are they going to be hugger mugger, really good mates with America?
Of
Right? Are they
course.
going to be sort of doing all of their trade using dollars? Right?
The thing is, Ned,
Right? Are they going to be allowing sort of air bases and armed military bases on their sovereign territories?
the thing is, Ned, there is a change coming to the world. This is the wider sort of landscape, which most people are not even. I don't know if they're even noticing. Do you know that they announced the BRICS nations announced earlier on, just a few months ago, they're going to have 6 new nations added to the BRICS nations: Saudi Arabia, Iran, Morocco, I think Tunisia, or was it Ethiopia? I forgot. Egypt. Actually, I don't know about Morocco. And I think Argentina. Anyway, there's 6 new nations, but 2 of the critical nations are Saudi Arabia and Iran, oil-rich countries, OPEC nations, which are going to most likely start to move towards a non-dollar-based currency to sell their oil in. This is going to directly impact the petrodollar. The petrodollar is going to be, devastated.
This is what Colonel Gaddafi should have done.
Well, the thing is, so was Saddam Hussein. As soon as they did, guess what happened to those guys? I wonder. So the problem is that if Saudi Arabia moves away from and joins the BRICS and becomes and creates an ever closer relationship with the BRICS nations, their relationship with America is going to be soured anyway. They are not depending on America, because what the other part of this thing is, Europe and America, North America, Canada, they are moving away from petroleum as their source of fuel for generating, or pushing the running the engines of their economy. They're moving towards electric-based cars, electric-based vehicles for deliveries, for logistics, and all of these things. And if that happens, the oil-rich countries are going to lose their number one commodity. No, and so why would they ally themselves with nations?
It's a complete pipe dream.
I know,
but all these developing countries saying they're going to do this, but they're not actually doing it.
But
They're just saying it.
based.
Okay, let me give you an example of America. America, instead of producing it, which they could produce it and actually could sell, like what they're doing now, they're just importing it. They're just buying it in.
No, base. I know. At the moment, they're all playing footsie and sort of hide the ball with where they're getting their power from, and so they offset their carbon footprint to Russia and all these other bollocks. I know that. But there is a concerted effort amongst Europeans and amongst North Americans to move away from petroleum-based fuel. And so eventually, it may not happen in the next 10 years, it may not happen in the next 20 years, but it is shifting that way. It is the tide is moving that direction, and people like Saudi Arabia, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is looking at the next 40 years of Saudi Arabia. He's not looking at what Saudi Arabia is going to be in the next 10 years. He's looking at what Saudi Arabia is going to be in the next 40 years, because that man is going to still be alive, and that man is going to still probably be a king, because he's not elected. He doesn't have an elected period of time where he will no longer be the ruler of that nation. So he's planning. He can do that. People like Putin, Xi Jinping, they can plan 40, 50 years ahead of time. Someone like Biden doesn't give a crap until the next election cycle. Someone like Rishi Sunak doesn't give a crap. They only look at the next election cycles and how long their particular party may be in power. Whilst other people from these dictatorship nations, they plan far longer ahead of time than Western leaders do quite often. Because Western leaders are bound by these, their so-called democracy, even though we know most of that is a farce. But nevertheless, these guys are planning for that. And they know, and Arab nations and OPEC nations know, that petroleum-based products, their biggest seller, their biggest customer, right now being the Western Europeans and North Americans, is going to diminish. And so they are moving eastwards. They're looking to China. They're looking to other places. Saudi Arabia has already drawn up plans to build 2 petroleum refineries in China in the next few years. That's already going ahead, because China is all in with the petrol. They don't have a Greta Thunberg that they give a shit about. So this is what I mean. The things are shifting. The landscape is moving. There is like a tectonic plates are shifting beneath us, and all of these things play a part in it. Now, Saudi Arabia normalizing relationships with Israel is a good thing, potentially for Israel, but in the long term, it doesn't make a huge difference for Saudi Arabia. Their relationship with China and Russia is far more valuable than their relationship with Israel. So, you have to take, that's the wider picture. But on the micro level, the Hamas was afraid of becoming irrelevant, essentially. And now they brought themselves back to being relevant again. Every few years they have to do this in order to make themselves seem relevant in the world. That we're still here, we still got issues. But I'll be honest.
Why is it only Israel that's not allowed to retaliate, without the world going nuts? I don't understand that.
Well, it's easy, because Israel promotes and confesses to be a European Western society, or shall I say a Westernized society, where they have the morals and the ethics of Western countries. So they have to uphold to those standards. Yeah,
and abide by
exactly. So they have to hold. They have a much higher bar to meet than Hamas does. Hamas are terrorists. They have no bar.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Israel has signed up for all sorts of international treaties.
Exactly.
And on paper, it agrees to actually abide by all of the international rules of law.
Yes, the Geneva Convention, all of these things.
It's very hard to do that when Hamas did what they did on October the 7th.
Yeah, I know. And 100%. This is why I know that Israel will retaliate by, committing the deaths of hundreds of thousands of thousands, certainly tens of thousands of Palestinians, and have a collective punishment system, even though they won't actually say it. They won't say it, but they'll do it.
You mentioned collective punishment again, and I understand what it means. But isn't collective punishment, would say putting sanctions on a country to do with like medical stuff and stuff like that, wouldn't that be collective punishment?
Yes.
It's interesting.
We all know this.
No, but I'm all about, like, obviously the US has put sanctions on many countries.
Yes, I agree with you.
Medical stuff, which would be a part of.
It is a type of collective punishment.
It would be a collective punishment, wouldn't it?
Yes. When United States put sanctions on Venezuela or other nations, who does that really hurt? Does it hurt the leadership? Does it hurt the rich in that nation? No, it mostly devastates the poor. And we all know this, and we all just go along with it. This is the hypocrisy of these supposed moral laws and conventions, is that those who have the power, they say a student has to obey the law, the master knows when to break it. And unfortunately, that's how it is. The lower level nations, they are subject to obeying the laws. When you're a developed
it's a
nation, no.
term.
When you're America, no.
It's a term I've never heard of until like recently.
But
And
collective
I
punishment.
understand. Yeah, never been not like really in the well, certainly not. I don't think I have not really. Yeah, but I obviously understand what it means. It's so funny. Like there's so many examples of Western governments doing it to other governments. This is quite funny.
The fact is, look, based. I asked a Muslim this on Sunday. Actually, I said to him, if a man comes and kills your child, cuts his throat in front of you, what would you do to that child? What would you do to that man? Now, the guy was trying to obfuscate and, oh, well, I will call the authorities. I said, well, you're the authorities. You're the police. You're the caliph. Under Sharia, what would be the punishment to that? And under Islamic Sharia, they literally have an eye for an eye anyway. So, yes, he would slaughter Muslims if Israel did a fraction of what Hamas did on Saturday to Palestinians. They would slaughter every Israeli from limb that they would get a hold of. And they would not even shed a single tear for them. They slaughtered Israelis before even Israel did anything to them, supposedly. They just attacked and slaughtered women and children and burnt kids alive and shot old ladies in the head. So the Muslims have no leg to stand on. The Palestinians have no leg to stand on about what Israel should or should not do. It is absolute hypocrisy when these Muslims like Mohammed Hijab and others, Israel shouldn't be like, go fuck yourself, dude. If they killed your child in front of you, if they killed your child, even if you just heard about them killing your child, you would hunt that person down and tear him limb from limb. You'd skin him alive.
Well, what I'm finding hard to believe is that Israel weren't aware of what was happening. If that is, true and what happened, I can't. I find it quite hard to believe how one of the best intelligence agencies in the world.
Maybe they just got their eye off the ball.
No, because they've got sensors in all the walls. You can't even get a rabbit near there. I mean, it picks up everything. I mean, I've seen plenty of, it's all highly. I mean, all phone calls are monitored. All phone calls are monitored.
The ones that were shot at the festival, they were shot by the paragliders, isn't that right? So,
guess how many miles? How many miles into Israel was the festival?
I don't know.
Okay, anyone have a guess?
I'm not entirely sure. You mean past the checkpoints and all that?
Oh yeah. So Israel proper, because it was in Israel, wasn't it? So
Well,
it was 18 miles in.
Yeah, but I mean they paraglided, so that.
Well, I'm just saying, it's 18 miles is a long.
Yeah, look. Based, I'm gonna be honest. I am with you when it comes to a lot of discrepancies about the problems with the response time. It took literally, I think I heard 6 hours. One of them was saying before the Israeli military was in the southern parts of Israel to sort of fight against the Hamas guys. There was response times, failures at the gates, failures all over the place. Now, I'm with you. I've got Israeli soldiers. I posted a video, I don't know if you saw, of Israeli soldiers saying, IDF soldiers saying, I have no idea how these people, we get full alerts when a pigeon comes near the fence. When a cat approaches the fence, we get full alerts. Automatic guns go off. They've got like torrents and stuff. I have no idea how these people could have.
The narrative they're talking about at the moment, it was a holiday. It was. I said it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if it's a holiday.
Exactly.
Yeah, but exactly the same thing happened at Yom Kippur.
It could have been inside for somebody on the Israeli side.
Well, that's happened before. That's happened before. That happened up on the Golan Heights in '73. But with the Yom Kippur War, what actually happened was that exactly the same thing happened during the Yom Kippur War, where everybody, because it's such a national holiday, it's like launching an attack on Christmas Day in this country.
Was that the same
right?
thing?
What would actually happen? You've got like a skeleton staff on everywhere, right? And so if you launch, please,
hold on.
I didn't talk over the top of you.
Yeah.
Please let me talk. The thing is that if you actually launched an attack on Christmas Day in this country, there would be a skeleton staff everywhere. Quite a few people might be actually, distracted, doing other things, and you would get a slow response because it's taken everybody by surprise. Now, I'm not saying that that's what actually happened, but it did happen during the Yom Kippur War. There's stories of Ari Sharon going. Actually, this is like a very famous tank commander who actually commandeered an ice cream truck at gunpoint and forced it to drive him down into the Sinai so he could tie up with his armored brigade, right? Because everybody was on fucking holiday. On Yom Kippur, they actually flew jets backwards and forwards over all of the cities in Jerusalem, right, in 1973 to wake every fucker up because they were all fucking hungover and asleep and drunk, right? And they needed them to wake up, right? Why are their jets flying close overhead, right? Switch the radio on. We are under attack, right? And you
There
may
you go.
actually find that the same sort of thing happened here.
Complacency.
Well, no, it's like at a holiday season. If you sort of think, Banksy, I want you to attack somewhere, right?
First line
You
of
find
defense.
when
First
everybody's
line
going to
of
be
defense.
reveling,
All
right?
right.
New Year's Eve.
Ned.
Yeah, that is
Okay,
complacency. though.
you've explained to
Maybe.
me about historical events, and generally you learn from those mistakes.
Yeah.
But apart from anything else, front line of defense would be, the front wall. So I understand people getting pissed up in the towns and the cities further in and all that. But now we're in the digital era, etc., etc. There's no excuses for this.
Oh,
And don't
I
listen,
understand.
and for you
it might be.
and for you to try and insinuate that they didn't know what's going on. I'm thinking to myself,
Oh no, I'm just
I,
having a
I,
conversation.
Well, the thing
well,
is,
they've got
guys,
loads of spies in Gaza. Loads of spies. I mean,
yeah.
so many
Let
families
me
they got shit on them. The people are in massive shit. Otherwise,
Well,
there's
All
loads.
right,
listen,
guys,
the
let
thing
me
is,
bring in Silber, because Silber, I believe, Silber is Jewish and he's Israeli. He's actually from Israel. Am I correct, Silber?
right.
Correct.
There you go. Yeah, because Mr. Mossad is also in Israel, and Silber is, and these guys, they do a show together. So yes,
Shalom.
Silber, could you give us some insight into why the security systems failed so drastically and allowed this to happen?
It's still to some degree under a fog of war, heavy classification, mysteries, and so on. It appears that there was some sort, many small theories that could all coincide at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive. There are reports that many legal Gazan work migrants that got daily work visa permits to enter Israel and work inside Israel were Hamas spies who worked all over Israel and searched for stuff.
Wow.
And some of them were trained on basic networking level, and they mapped inside Gaza outskirts soil a lot of how do you say it, communication and networks and power closets, and they mapped it, and the people in Hamas at the start of the invasion knew to launch suicide drones on these network closets and power closets, and it shut down a lot of the power and the internet in the
And you
area.
can use Google Maps as well, can't you?
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah,
also,
when your communication is
Pete,
down,
I
you're pretty
heard
much under
somewhere
attack.
that apparently
Sorry,
they
one at a
thought
time.
that,
Go ahead,
that
Jubes.
there was hacking going on, like for the defences to go down.
Yeah, yeah.
That-
This
Yeah,
this
there's
is what I heard.
probably good chance there was some sort of a cyber hack. No one knows, but it's a very, very good educated guess. It's not classified yet, but it's
Yeah,
every reasonable person level of guess at this point.
Yeah, I saw some reports of exactly that scenario, that Israel was too dependent on electronics and electrical
But
defenses.
by the way, this is a thing that not spoken about. I guess you fully know it by now, by every reasonable person estimation, that Iran to some degree had direct help to this degree. This is going to sound a bit of racist and a bit arrogant, but I truly think this is not an exaggeration. 99% of the times when Arabs are good in war or terrorism, it means they got help from someone else. the British in the colonial era, the USSR, the Americans in the early Cold War. Every time Russia and the other countries and so on, almost always when Arabs are good in war and terrorism, they got direct help from someone. And for sure, they got a lot of direct Iranian help for the very highest echelons of the IRGC, and there are starting to be very small hints of maybe some small Russian connections at this point.
Can I just ask you one thing, Silber? I understood that Iran was the client of the proxy of Hezbollah. Hezbollah was the proxy of Iran. I didn't know that
Hezbollah
Hamas.
is literally Iran on remote control. They are
Right.
not real
Okay.
organization.
But I didn't realize that Hamas would have any links with Iran.
This is well known for years. I'm not trying to insult you, but it was well known for years.
No, I don't know. I mean, you're not insulting me. I don't know. You know, that's why I'm asking. I'm not. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was my actual question, because back in 2000, back in the 90s, before the fall of Saddam Hussein, it was always Saddam Hussein. Oh, Saddam Hussein's paying suicide bombers $10,000 for every time they martyr themselves. Yes, Hamas is going to launch Scud missiles against Israel. It was always Saddam. It was Saddam, because Saddam Hussein is a Sunni, and Hamas are Sunni. So we always, this was the connection, and they were like, oh, Iran doesn't like Hamas, Hamas, because they're Sunni, and they help Hezbollah because they're Shiite. There was all this Sunni-Shiite type divide.
You're having a bit of very two-dimensional view of the Middle East. In the Sunni realm in the Sunni Islam faction of terrorism, this is, again, in my own part, a bit of a simplistic oversimplification. But when shit hit the road, there are two versions of Sunni jihadism. There is the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS, the retards, so to speak, the people who go to the mountains, go to the cave, butcher people, starting physically trying to conquer countries. I call it the Al-Qaeda/ISIS kind of people. And there is the Muslim Brotherhood. And the Muslim Brotherhood, as a whole, as a large, a lot of the time cooperate with Iran on the geopolitical sphere. They are semi-natural bedfellows for decades. And Hamas is an offshoot is part of the Muslim Brotherhood. It literally started as a branch of the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood when Egypt ruled Gaza between 48 to 67. One of the very founder members of Hamas that was killed in 2002 was on a wheelchair because the Egyptian secret police tortured him so hard in the Egyptian secret police secret dungeons of El Nasser, Egypt, that he became disabled. So they are the Muslim Brotherhood. Qatar, one of the financier of the Muslim Brotherhood, the entire kingdom are true believers in Sunni jihadi Islam of the Muslim Brotherhood variant. They are major allies of Iran. Iran and Qatar are very close.
Yes. Yeah, I know. This is the thing. This is where things get a little bit more interesting, because there was always this understanding that the Sunnis and the Shiites, they don't see eye to eye, they don't really cooperate, but actually the Qataris and the Iranians are very close bedfellows. In fact, to some extent, for a long time, Dubai banned Qatar Airlines from flying into Dubai because of their relationship with Iran and their closeness.
Saudi and the UAE did a soft siege on Qatar for a few years.
That's right.
In this decade.
Yeah, because of their relationship with Iran. This is a bit of a myth.
By the way, sometimes even the retard faction of Sunni jihadists, like the Al-Qaeda, ISIS kind of people, sometimes Iran helped them as well. By the CIA own admission, where are the current leaders of Al-Qaeda hiding right now?
Oh, in Iran.
In Iran. So
because I thought they were in Pakistan, because I figured because that's where they found Osama. I figured a lot of them would have melted into Pakistan more than Iran. But yeah, I mean, Iran shares a border with Afghanistan, so
yeah,
absolutely.
And to by the way, to realize how easy this mixture is, Banksy, I'm going to say something that is going to be a bit controversial, but I think you may agree with me to some
Drop it.
degree.
Drop it like it's hot.
To every ideology there is some part of true believers, of course. I don't say everyone thinks it's a hoax, but to a large degree the current version of 12er Shia Islam of the IRGC, to some degree it's kind of a fake religion. It's just a veneer for Persian supremacism and imperialism. Many people don't really believe this 12er Shia Islam. It's feel like a prop religion from the movie Dune. If you see sermons of 12er Shia Islam and so on.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The
Who
12
truly
Imam,
believe?
the 12
Who
Imam
truly
thing.
believes that the Mahdi was born in 13th century and he hides in a well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we will find him in the well and we will conquer all Earth.
yeah.
All Earth will have muta marriages and all Earth will go to Najaf in Iraq. Who really believes this stuff? Most of the people.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, to be honest with you,
So that brings me on to an interesting question. How much of this do you think is thought by extreme believers of Muslim religion, or
This specific sect of Islam, most of its believers, it's just a veneer for imperialism and having some fun, so to speak, in the diabolical sense.
yeah, but
okay.
You know, the entirety of this
Because it's
12
amazing
Shia.
how much of this stuff is matching up with what is in Revelations and what is written in the Quran and Hadith.
Banksy will know what I'm talking about. Like the entirety of the religion. If you speak purely theology, all Islam is rotten. Everyone betrayed the Sahaba. Everyone were corrupt. You know what they truly mean when they say it in their heart, in their heads. They say the Arabs, the ethnic, the racial Arabs were the betrayers. Therefore, Arabs are inherently evil. Therefore, it's justified to conquer and oppress Arabs. This is the true psychology of this religion. An excuse to conquer Arabs as much as possible because they had feuds about the Arab conquest of Persia.
yeah, but the thing is, these mullahs. This is the messed up thing. When I talk to a lot of Iranians in regards to the mullahs, Khomeini wasn't actually fully Persian. He was certainly not Persian, but he wasn't even like Iranian. He was actually from a Hindu background. The Khamenei, who's the current supreme leader, isn't from certainly none of them have Persian backgrounds. So none of these guys. Sorry, go on.
I think he's ethnic Azeri.
Yeah, but what I mean is a lot of the leaders in the masjid, majlis of the Iranian government, the top guys, most of them can't even trace themselves to a Persian origin. So for them to have this Persian supremacy ideology, it's a bit baffling for me. I'm finding it hard because if they were all could trace themselves back to an actual Persian route, Shiraz and Persepolis and all that stuff, then I'll be like, okay, fair enough. Maybe these guys do have a Persian imperialist ideology, hidden behind an Islamic one. But most of them are not even original. They can't even trace themselves to Persian Iranians. So it's
hard. You find that a lot with extremists, don't you? Look at the extremists in this country, most of them.
First of all, I did not say all think it's a hoax. I think the higher up leadership are true believers. I mean, in the mid to bottom degree, you know how atheist Iran is truly is when shit hits the fence. You know what? I'm correct. Iran is one of the most atheistic countries on earth.
Oh yeah. It was recent internet poll came out. 42% of Iranians don't even consider themselves Muslim anymore. And yeah, I mean they so that was just whether they consider themselves Muslims. It doesn't mean whether they're atheist or Christian. And
also,
or other
sometimes people believe in ideology, but either the ideology is ridiculous or they believe it hypocritically. For example, what's the name of that super higher up Nazi, the one who believed all this occult Nazi stuff, Himmler? He looked like Japanese. So everyone sometimes have hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I mean, it's just you're right. I find it I just find the Persian angle a little bit harder to sort of accept. Although I have no questions or I have no problems with accepting that the Iranian mullahs have an imperialistic, attitude, and they would rather for Shia Islam to cover the world than Sunni Islam, if it came down to it. So I have no problem with that. I'm 100% sure that they are on that path, or they would definitely want to promote that. But then so would the Saudis.
Do you know what's funny about that, though, Banksy?
Mm.
So, in the biblical scriptures, at the end of times in Revelations, what they actually say is that it's a group of people that have a religion where they bleed, they whip themselves and stuff.
Well,
The only
the Shiites do
religions that
that.
I know about is the Jesuits or the Shias,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
interesting.
the Shias absolutely do that. But I mean, again, the Shias are kind of spread out across Iraq, Iran, and Pakistan. Although the majority is obviously in Iran. So I find it. I say some of this stuff. It's actually quite new to me, especially the Persian supremacy concept, because that was something that I thought really the Persians, because of so many decades of just, well, centuries of just being oppressed and superimposed with Islam, I wasn't really that aware that they had still like imperialistic ideals. I thought that was like long gone. I'll be perfectly honest with you. When you speak to the average anti-regime Iranian, they just want the regime gone. They're not thinking about. They're not sitting around going, "Oh, what if we took over the Middle East and took Saudi back, Saudi Arabia, and we were the Persian Empire and we had Uzbekistan back?" No, I don't really think they give a crap about that at the moment. They're mostly worried about their daughters being killed because they don't wear a hijab correctly. So the priorities, at least from my perspective, is very much internal rather
Yeah, but
than
there's levels
external.
to this, isn't
You
there?
know,
I mean,
they speak about this. Maybe it will go into a regional war.
yes,
It has a large potential to go way larger, but not as large as people think. First of all, no
Yeah.
way this is going to be World War III. No one is coming for help Iran. Russia, how do you say the youth? Russia is over.
Mm.
In a year from now, all their land
but
army
hasn't
will be
Russia
at.
just recently signed something with Iran, not knowing that this was going to happen?
The Russian army is completely stuck in Ukraine, and in a year from now, their land army
Yeah, that's the only thing.
will be treated to almost nothing. China is not coming for Iran. Who will come for Iran? China is not coming. Russia cannot come.
Yeah, they
It
wouldn't. They
cannot
wouldn't.
be.
I think interfere directly, but I mean, if they would, there's a chance that they would assist behind the scenes when it comes to
Yeah.
logistics, armament, funding, other things like that. I
But but
suspect they may do that.
but here's the point. First of all, the Iranian army on itself cannot even leave Iran because if it first of all, it cannot call general mobilization. If they call general mobilization and train all the nation to use a rifle, there will be a revolution. They know
Exactly.
it. Oh, we all
They
know it.
can't give guns to the
Give,
people. Hell
they
no.
can they can't give every young male Iranian 6 months of a boot camp and a rifle. It's game over.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You're right.
they can't mobilize and they can't leave because if they leave, they will not have IRGC ruled Iran to return to anymore. They
Yes.
can't mobilize, they can't leave, and while they are still in Iran, they are completely bogged down to the Taliban, Azerbaijan. Just this week, Aliyev from Azerbaijan wore military uniforms in annexed Nagorno-Karabakh, raised the flag in the capital of the Nagorno-Karabakh district, and went to his office and opened a map. And in the map, you see that Azerbaijan rules half of current Armenia and 25% of Iranian soil. And he literally, I'm not making this
Interesting.
up. You could search it yourself right now. When you see Aliyev, look at the map with 20% of Iran and half of Armenia with the devilish green. He said it in the open. He wants to annex the South Azerbaijan, the Azeris of Iran. He wants to take it over,
Oh wow.
and they know it. And they know it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and
There's
also
a
there
thing
is
happening.
this huge Sunni Bedouin style Sunni area in East Iran, Khuramistan, I think, Kharministan, Khurministan, I forgot its name. huge district where all Sunnis Bedouins, like quote unquote Dune kind of people, and they hate the regime. The Taliban, they have extreme issue with the Taliban. Israel
Khuzestan?
is
Are you saying Khuzestan?
Israel is becoming allied with Turkmenistan, and now they need to allocate troops in Turkmenistan. So the Iranian army cannot mobilize because that's in an instant revolution. They cannot leave Iran to fight in a second country because that's instant revolution. They cannot even, and in Iranian soil, they are completely bogged down in Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, the Taliban, Khorasan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've got also the issue with the Kurds, the Iranian Kurds,
Yeah,
which is actually
also,
what sparked the Masa Amini protest anyway, because that girl was
also,
a Kurdish.
yeah, also yeah, it's not. I will say, I will return to what you just said. Also, a fourth thing, the entirety of the Iranian army is not like a classical positive army, quote unquote, that have tanks, SPGs that could actively go to a land and conquer it and hold the conquered land, like gain and hold ground. Almost all of their army in practice is built like a asymmetrical army, like to put IEDs, to shoot with manpads,
Guerrilla,
to use
Sorry,
guerrilla
Hornet
can I,
fighting.
against
can I
tanks.
just jump in here? Can I just jump in
Sure,
here? I mean,
sure.
you're talking. Sorry, Silver, but I mean, you seem to be talking. I'm told I don't have knowledge of this, but you seem to be talking about like military. At one point, you sort of said imperial influence. Like it seems that the way that I understand it, and my knowledge is very sketchy, but it's my understanding that there's a proxy conflict going on between Saudi and Iran, right?
In
That the
Yemen.
two
Yes, and Israel as well.
are jostling for influence, and
Yes.
this isn't like open hostile open war, but it's like it's just trying to get as much influence in one country over the opposing side. So the thing is that Saudi and so at the moment, what might actually happen is that Iran, their influence might actually go up if they are supporting Hezbollah and Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood as well. Is that right? I don't know, but this particular.
Wait, what? I didn't follow. I saw some news headline. How did you connect in your long question
Sorry,
Iran and the proxies to the Muslim Brotherhood? What was the
not
question again?
not the Muslim, but Hezbollah and Hamas. Forget about the Muslim Brotherhood. But the thing is that it seems that if they give increasing support, right, and sustenance to Hezbollah and Hamas, right, that will increase their influence over that vital region, over the whole of that region, Lebanon, Jordan, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza, right, at the expense of Saudi, at the expense of Egypt.
Yeah, they want to bribe leaders and to build militias and proxies group to get power. First of all, it's because the Iranian society cannot have the social strength to be in foreign wars because that's an instant revolution. People despise the regime. No one in Tehran will serve in mandatory conscription in a
No,
Syria
but we've
civil war.
established that. We've established that. So militarily, they're not. We're not talking about military influence. We're talking about just political influence on Hezbollah, political influence and support on Hamas.
Hezbollah is Iran. It's not influence. It's literally Iran on remote control. It's not influence. It's them. It's just them.
Yeah, but what Ned is saying is that even though the assessments are that yes, Hezbollah is literally just takes their orders directly from maybe Tehran, but they are still considered a separate form. They're not Iran directly attacking Israel. So even if Hezbollah attacks Israel, it is still Israel can only retaliate against Hezbollah. They can't throw rockets to Tehran. Do you know
Tonight
what I mean?
tonight on the BBC, one of the correspondents was actually suggesting that this complete conflagration has what's happening is that the people in this area, right, the Levant, are actually looking at their leadership, and there is a fear. There's an increasing fear of an Arab Spring. Do you remember the Arab Spring of about 10 or 15 years ago,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Egypt,
Right now,
yeah.
people right now are trying to set up the ground to the
exactly,
revolution
exactly.
against Sisi in Egypt.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and also in Palestine, in the West Bank, and also in Jordan, and also I don't know about Lebanon. But the thing is that who will replace them? It'll probably be not puppets of Iran, but very strong supporters of Iran. True or false? Is that nonsense?
Who will replace, as in, who will replace what? The Hamas leadership or the PLO leadership?
No, no,
Which
no, no.
particular
Well,
ones?
no, no. There is talk now that because Egypt has been so supportive and been following the Abraham Accords, been seeking this rapprochement with Israel, it's now looking really, really bad in the eyes of Arabs on the ground.
Oh,
Right?
I see. The
That,
Arab leaderships in like what?
no,
Yemen,
just ordinary
Omar,
people are
Saudi.
actually looking at the Egyptian leader. They're looking at the Jordanian royal family,
Family.
and thinking maybe it's time for a change. And there is this
Right.
talk, a suggested talk that there might be like an Arab Spring, like that
Yeah, but
happened in the past.
part of the
Oh,
Arab Spring was Egypt. Egypt was part of that. They got rid of Hosni Mubarak, and
well, oh
their
yeah, well,
lot didn't change for any better. I mean, this is what Sam Harris was always saying, that if you give the Muslim world the democracy, the chance for a democracy, they will vote in a dictator upon their own heads. The Palestinians voted in Hamas, although I understand the reasons why, and Egyptians, which I don't understand what the hell they were thinking. They voted in a Muslim Brotherhood leader. Which the army had to chuck out with a coup. So the
Yeah,
Muslim world.
right now, the leader in Tunisia are becoming more and more dictatorial because he knows that the people will just elect the Muslim Brotherhood. He become more and more
Yeah.
tyrant every day in Tunisia.
So
why?
no,
Why are they doing
because they do, because they have this. You see, this is the narrative which most people, I don't think, get.
Because
Muslims.
most of
Hold on,
most of
hold
them
on,
are
Silver.
extreme. Most of them are just extremist. It's a hoax.
It's not
Most
even
just
it's not
want
even
peace.
it's not that they're extremists. It's that they're dreamers. They are dreamers. It's actually, I think this is more true than them being extremists. They dream, or they have this fantasy of the golden age of Islam, that there was a time when Muslims were just freaking living on clouds and everybody was just walking around with togas and I don't know, jugs of honey and food, and everything was just plentiful and everything was just awesome when Salah ad-Din was running things, or when one of the caliphs, I don't know, what's his name, Ibn Ben Omar bin Khattab, or any other caliphs were right, the rightly guided caliphs. This was a great time in the Islamic world. People were just plentiful. Everything was just amazing. They have that. The Muslims are lottery ticket buyers, okay? They buy the lottery ticket even though they know the odds are completely against it, but they're there. Come on.
Yeah, it's a thing that many center leftists says to right wing Westerners, but here it's true that it's just fantasy. They had the Mad Max inner Islamic civil wars. They butchered each other like mad. They enslaved the other Muslims after they declared them heretics from political reasons. Many times the regimes that were fine, they were basically Islam in name only, and they were basically half Greek philosophy. Like there is this semi-extinct version of Islam. I forgot its name. I think Murtazila. That they were basically semi-Greek philosophers. Today they think they are basically heretics in all but name. It's just fantasy.
Yeah, but this is it. But they buy into that fantasy. They vote in, the Muslim Brotherhood leaders or any of these jihadi types because they're like, come on, this time we're going to get the proper caliph. We're going to get this one's the one. And then the dude turns out to be a genocidal maniac. This is the problem. This is the problem with the Middle
Don't we
East.
all do that? Don't we all do that? Don't we all? I mean, you had a
No,
whole
no,
lot-
nothing to the same degree.
Sorry, I'm not. Please, just let me land.
Yeah,
Just
guys,
let me, just let me make my point. I'm not conflate. The point I'm making is that don't we all sort of vote for Boris Johnson in our country, Silber? He made a whole load of outlandish promises, which he then failed to deliver on. Right, but shitloads of people that wouldn't normally vote for him, working class Northerners, voted for him in droves because they believed what he was selling.
Look, Ned. The
Yeah,
fact
first
is,
of all,
hold
I
on.
think there are two.
Sorry,
you
Silver,
first.
just
Don't we all do that,
give me 60 seconds. Look, the problem is, Ned, that unlike the Western civilization or Western societies, the system is in place not to let any of these crazy guys, because you think Boris Johnson wouldn't be a fucking dictator if he had half a chance? Do you think half these leaders wouldn't run like? In fact, George W. Bush himself said, it would be so much easier to get things done if I was a dictator rather than a democratically elected president. They all have dictatorial ambitions. The system that is in place doesn't allow them to get there. Unfortunately, in the Middle East, they don't have that. They don't have
Checks
that
and balances.
bedrocks. They don't have the checks and balances. So immediately, as soon as they vote one of these these sort of maniacs into power, the guy just solidifies his position, just like Putin and Xi Jinping, and just makes himself king for life. So that's the problem. They don't have that checks and balance of the Britain or America or France or other places to keep these genocidal would-be dictators in check. So the guy just takes and just runs with it. That's the problem in the Middle East. Whilst here, we could say, yeah, Boris, go on, mate, get it done, give us something, and then he flops on it and he screws up or whatever. We just then kick his ass out and we pick another one. Or actually, in this case, we don't really pick. I mean, we're beginning to, by the way, find the chinks in the armor of the Western society's sort of political system as well. Who voted for Rishi Sunak? Could you please tell me? Because I sure as shit never saw a poll. I never saw a ballot box before that dude took office. So
Yeah, but I think you took the discussion to another direction. That's the point is the people from bottom up, from the bottom, not upwards, not the system. The people from the bottom in most of the Arab world want radical regimes and extremist regimes. If most of you British people would have immigrated for work reason to the Czech Republic, and it's very more or less a sane country, no major issues, no mass migrations, no insanity. Most of you after a decade would be naturally turned to center lefty, center right. Most of you will not be far right in Czech Republic or communist tank in Czech Republic, because there is no extreme things to reply to, so you no need to be extremist yourself. But if you bring 5 million Muhammad hijabs to live in the Czech Republic, they will make it a hellhole.
exactly,
It's from the bottom up.
yeah, you're right.
I-
Though. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you a question. Why has Israel decided not to do its ground offensive that it was going to do? Why has it delayed it?
It will have got
Why there is no invasion to Gaza yet? That's the question.
It's
Yeah.
a question of-
Two reasons.
Yes,
One,
yes.
because it appears that 80% Hezbollah instantly joins and it will be two-front war, so they are preparing to do front war instantly. And the first one is Western leader pressure to delay it for reasons diplomacy. I think they are truly afraid, some Western countries, and I think this fear is unjustified, but I think this is what they think in their head. They truly think that if people will not come to do watch out to yourself talks to Bibi, or try to get as many Gazans out of Gaza as possible, there is a risk of real physical revenge genocide, as what they think, not if it's
Actually,
on the ground or not.
Actually, Silber, the funny thing is, Mr. Mossad, he said this, and I kind of agree with it. He said right now that the fact is that given the landscape of Gaza, it'll be a sniper's paradise, and the Israelis are not willing to put their boys and girls in harm's way by having
No,
them
this is
sent
this
into that area.
first of all, this war is different. People are willing to take risks. People are willing to be there years of war. You have a disconnect from how people on the ground think. People think of it as a literal war on their home, justified, justified wrath, divine duty. I could go on and on. People are willing to get hurt in this war. This will not be. If we pass 200 dead soldiers, you start to look at your clock to go out. This will not be like that.
Yeah, no,
And
but the thing is, it's whether the Israeli government and the Israeli army wants to actually put their soldiers in harm's way. I guess they're playing the game of softening up the area first with airstrikes, and then once they deem it to be safer to go in with ground troops, they will then send in the ground troops. It's just at the moment it's too volatile.
But everyone does it. No one just charge head into mega
exactly.
urban area. America did it. Russia did it.
It's classic
everyone does it.
war
I don't get the
tactics.
point.
Yeah. You
General
just regular.
General Petraeus was really interesting. He's somebody that fought in Iraq. He was one of he commanded the airborne battalion and one of the airborne brigades in Iraq. And he says one of the major problems you've actually got is that the terrorists won't be wearing uniforms. So you will be fighting from room to room to room, and once you get close, they just drop their weapons. How do you know who it is and who it isn't? Right?
Yeah.
So you don't know who your enemy is, and that could be anybody. It could be a
First
young.
of all,
Please, just let me finish. It could be a young boy. It could be a young girl. It could be all sorts of things, right? The other thing is that. A lot of their headquarters, a lot of their stuff is underneath hospitals and mosques
and schools.
Okay? And schools. Yeah. That's right. Yep. And another thing that Petraeus said that he encountered in Iraq was suicide bombers. Right. You know, if one suicide bomber goes into a group of like 5 or 10 soldiers,
he'll just boom.
Yeah, and the other thing, which is incredibly effective, apparently, is IEDs. It completely crippled the British Army, right, in Iraq. I don't know about America. I don't know, but I understand that their use of IEDs is devastating. Okay,
and Ned, sorry, land. I just want to ask you a question after you finish, Ned.
No. He just listed a whole load of things that he actually encountered when he was fighting in Iraq. And he says, the other thing you've got to remember is that this is one of the most densely populated areas on Earth. Okay.
Yes.
Right. There are hundreds and thousands of people, and they're all congregated into small areas.
There's about 2 million or 2 and a bit million people, in Gaza. So yeah, I mean, but the thing is, it's not. I mean, it says one of the most densely populated. No, London is one of the most densely populated. It's got 12 million people. Tokyo is one of the most densely populated places on Earth.
20 million. Yeah.
2.3 million isn't as densely populated as people think, but yeah, it is fairly densely populated.
Well, just a second there, Banksy. You know, it's about the size of the size of South London. You know that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's right. For in proportion to its size, then yeah. But I mean, still, I think a lot of these people could be maneuvered or shifted to one side or the other, but unfortunately, that's not happening. Sorry, Jupiter. I'm going to ask this of Ned, and then you can go straight away. It's just Angel Moon says, please ask Ned explain what he means by working class. I mean, she did go on to say, God, he is annoying, but I retract that. No, I do not condone those messages.
No. I think that's a given. Yeah. Working class. Well, I traditionally look at it as somebody that's blue collar, somebody that does like manual work, somebody that actually doesn't work behind an office desk.
Yeah,
right.
Someone who wears a hard hat that goes to work.
But I think that the definition has changed, because an awful lot of people that did manual work in the past with automation, they're now working in shops and factories. True. and they're now actually doing they're now actually not doing sort of the kind of manual work that
That we
I
used to do
sort of
back
did
in the
when I was.
day, digging
Yeah,
ditches.
yeah.
Why
All
do
right.
Jewish kids go and hide their identity in London and around this country? I don't understand.
Or
I
why
think
why
it's
did they hide their identity?
well, no, they've been told not to wear their school uniforms,
Oh,
not to show anything that they're Jewish,
For
and
oh,
fear of
Jewish
everything.
attack.
kids,
That's
Jewish
Yeah, for
kids.
fear of attack.
Well, yeah, because they're
Sorry,
going to get
what
attacked.
was your question, Jupiter?
Yes, please.
Jupiter.
I was going to say all those things that you listed about the problems of going in with the warfare and stuff.
Yeah.
Hasn't the technology moved on so far that some of those things wouldn't be needed to be considered? For example, you see with the bombs, going off and everything on the ground. You could have. They've got dogs now. They've got robot dogs that go and sort all that out. And if it'd be the robots that get blown up. It wouldn't actually be people. Well,
Yeah,
and drones would sort of like go in and sort of like gather intelligence before they go anywhere now.
well, you'd sort of think so, but the trouble is that it's such a deadly thing going from house to house fighting that now modern armies tend to try and avoid. They'll fight round the outside, and they'll surround a city and force it to surrender, right? Because street to street house fighting in a house to house is about the most deadly. The casualty rate is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and also you're not
you
fighting
sort of said
conventional soldiers. You're fighting, as I say, guerrilla fighters.
I think I need to interrupt you, because I think you have false premise for over a few minutes now.
Yeah, go on.
The nature of urban warfare for armies of Western level armies is way different than you think. It became very modernized. The thing is, right now, I think some of you may have seen videos or lectures about it, maybe. The real trend now, so to speak, is, how do you say it in English? Just a mini sec. BMS, battle mission system. The idea is that you basically build sort of a combat internet on the ground in a private network, which is very encrypted, and everything is connected at once. For example, if there is like a camera micro drone looking through an alleyway, is instantly broadcasting it into a main system, and the main system is instantly accessible by everyone. So if I fly a camera drone over an alleyway, in 10-second times, all the army in the city of my team know exactly what I saw. Everyone, 10,000 men, know it instantly. And then there are tons of synergy. For example, you put the camera, and then the camera image go into a supercomputer, and then the supercomputer, not on the field, probably at least 100 kilometers away, but it's all fiber cable, so it's almost instantly. Then the pictures, all the army know the picture, then the picture go into a supercomputer, the supercomputer in half a second says, I did AI analysis of the photo, there is a terrorist in this and this window. Instantly, in 10 seconds, all my team, 10,000 men, know about this specific person and specific alleyway and specific window, and then all the attack system are connected, and then there is an AI management for this thing as well. For example, the camera drone saw the alleyway, everyone know. The AI computer realized there is a terrorist in this window, everyone know. Then it says, who wants to kill him? And then it sends instantly with AI info about the attack option. You say this is a manually guided, wire guided ATGM, he can kill him. This is 120 millimeter mortar, it can kill him. This is 155 millimeter mortar, it can kill him. This is a plane, it can kill him. This is a helicopter, it can kill him. Then there is an AI who does what's the most optimal with resources and speed to kill the terrorist. Then they choose, for example, 120 mortar. Then the person in the station gets instantly the specs and the coordinates. Some of the modern mortars are completely manual and how do you say it, automatically loaded and automatically aimed. The computer in theory could load the mortar and aim the mortar. Whereas fire is gone. All of the stuff I just said, that all the city knows where he is. All the city offer to kill him. The most optimal one kill him. This in theory could be done in 2 minutes and he's dead. And no one risked himself to kill him. You drive a drone, it goes to the supercomputer and it goes to the mortar crew. Not a single person ever entered the alleyway and he's dead.
It's really interesting.
So technology has jumped right forward. That's what I would have expected. Yeah.
Right. The thing is that it's really interesting that two battle groups, two US battle groups, have gone to Israel. Right, two carrier groups have gone to the coast of Israel, and they reckon that they've downloaded, something like 2,000 technical experts have jumped off the ships into Israel, and now they're not going to be doing any fighting. And I wondered what they were going to be doing. Why are they going to need all of these technical experts? And I think that Seba has just. I'm wondering whether he's answered some of these questions, whether they're going to be doing some of the guidance, some of the not actually doing any of the the shooting or the pointing or anything, but just keeping the system running.
This I do not know, because what I'm saying now, it's not classified. You could find lectures about all this battle internet, battle battle synergy. It's not classified. You can find lectures on YouTube. But the Israeli ecosystem is completely in-house. The Americans use something, I think, only America or General NATO. I forgot.
I understand that Israel, the IDF gets everything that it wants from the American war chest. I'm sure that Israel has its own systems, but like the Iron Dome is General Electric's, I believe. I mean, I think an awful lot of
Well, there's
tech.
rumours that Russia's are supposed to be the one that hacked in and fiddled with the Iron Dome.
Russia do not have anything near the kind of battle network, battle AI, battle internet. Russia, nowhere near it. Even Ukraine is by far better, because the West gave them a half-assed version of this kind of thing. They gave them a demoted version at the start, after they started helping. Russia don't have a thing like that. China don't have a thing like that. This is only the top 12, top 13 of the Western armies. Either built it or bought it.
I take on board everything you've been saying there, and it is very, very impressive. And I understand that the technology that they've got in the Ukraine is not as advanced, not as state of the art as Israel has got, but it's still pretty advanced, and they're hitting enormous problems. I think that your view is, with respect, I think it's over optimistic. General Petraeus, who I'm sure he was fighting 10 years ago. I don't know how much technology has changed in that 10 years. It may have changed markedly, but he actually reckons this is going to be a horrible, horrible fight. That it's going to be a very tough urban battle, and that a lot of people are a lot of Israeli soldiers, unfortunately, and it's not going to end well on all sides.
You could tell me I'm wrong. My estimation, this war in Gaza will end, sadly, for every lost in life and such, except Hamas fail, but for Israeli or civilians and so on. My estimation, the battle for Gaza, Hamas total annihilation, will be between 1,000 and 2,000 dead IDF troops, and between 50 to 100 dead Hamas and human shields and Gazan civilians. It will be between 50 to 100,000. And I think you are also over pessimistic, because if you will look in 2002, all Earth was surprised how good was the IDF in urban combat in the war in the PA. In the 2014 ground invasion, the kill death ratio was 70 over 2,200. In the 28 war, it was 10 on 1,000. And I could go on and on. By the way, General Petraeus in Iraq himself, he copied a lot of Israeli
Oh yes,
urban
no,
rural
absolutely.
welfare efforts from 2002. This is well known. I'm not like boasting or hyper
No.
nationalist. This is well known that
Well, I mean, I hope that there isn't going to be a massive loss of life. I think it's. I wonder whether they're doing it a different way. They're avoiding a full out military attack because there's no water in that. I understand that when you switch a tap on, you get salt water out of the tap. It's not desalinated, right? So there's large numbers of people that are actually going thirsty, and I'm wondering whether they're creating a situation where I don't know where I don't know where I don't know what the story is, but I mean it seems that there are people that are sort of dying of thirst now. I think we're very fast heading towards a humanitarian
there is
disaster.
running water in South Gaza. It's not true. There is
But it's
running water in
not
South
possible.
Gaza.
90% of the water from the taps is undrinkable. It's not. It's seawater. It's salinated water.
But they put the water back on, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's not drinking water. It's
Well, then how were they surviving beforehand?
Yeah, because
Look,
I thought Israel.
I'm not trying to deceive you, but if you're saying people dying from thirst or mess, it will be international news. You just saw the story with the hospital explosion. You could tell it a hoax by now. The hospital explosion,
It's come out
hoax
as hoax.
story. All Earth talked about it all non-stop, 12 hours. You tell me people dying on mess and thirst in Gaza, and it's not news.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's the case at the moment, but it may come to that down the road. But
we're very close.
I think
I think we're very close. Yeah, you know, Jupiter. A couple of days ago, with respect to you, Jupiter, but a couple of days, I heard you saying, you know, people can last without you can. I believe that you can only last for about 2 days without a drink. I might be wrong about that.
it's 3 days. 3 days. It's the
Yeah,
rule of
3 days.
three for survival.
3 days for healthy male adult.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it on Bear Grylls. He talks about like three minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. It's the rule of three.
Yeah.
In
There you
survival.
go. So I mean, I think we are heading towards a humanitarian disaster. I mean, leaving aside things like diphtheria, typhus, you know, all sorts of other things.
Of course, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I agree that this is going to get bad before it gets better. But I find
Look,
it hard
I'm going to finish, please.
No, I'm just saying I find it hard to condemn the Israelis after the weekend that they had, and to sort of. I mean, I'm sure as time goes by, cooler heads will take over in Israel, and then things they'll start to relieve a lot of the things that they've sanctioned. The embargo or the siege that they have on Gaza will probably relax, but at the moment. This is like a very sore point for them, I think, and it's hard.
Well, here you go. The trouble is that the prime minister is Netanyahu is dependent upon the settlers' vote and also the ultra orthodox vote to keep him in power.
There is no Netanyahu. After this war is over instantly, and how do you say it in English? And everyone in Israel, besides some like 1% of the total nation, radical left, everyone think the same thing about Gaza. There is no right or left about Gaza. All Israel, over 90%, are very, very, very harsh toward Gaza. All this talk right versus left is completely irrelevant. You will get the exact same policies from everyone toward Gaza.
No, that's not my. I'm sorry, see, but that's not my point. The thing is that that's not my point. I'm sorry, I've probably not explained myself properly. But Banksy sort of said cool heads and rationality and logic will prevail, right?
In time, not just now.
Well,
but
you see, the problem
hopefully.
is that it seems that the people at the top of power in Israel, and I know what you're saying, Seba, that there is like unified will to actually sort of sort this out. Yeah, but the thing is that the people at the top in Israel are not. They are quite not extreme's not the right word, but they're not moderate. Ultra Orthodox Jews have a view that they want the biblical borders
No,
of
that's
Israel.
first. That's technically not true. Most ultra orthodox have very secularish understanding of Zionism. They think Zionism is somewhere between meh to a bad thing because it was started by more secularist people. So they think it's a rotten movement and they are only in the state because.
But they're going to take a hard line. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. They're going to take a hard point. And so, you're actually saying that there's going to be, you know, cooler heads will prevail. I'm not sure. When you look at the leadership, there's some. They're going to take a hard line. I'm not sure that that's true.
But the thing is, even those what you consider hardliners, and this is kind of true of most of these Western sort of nations, they're kind of center left, center right anyway, and they're like when I'm talking about hardliners, okay, I'm talking about Kim Jong Un or Kim Jong Il. I'm talking about the mullahs of Iran. I'm talking about the
Well, I'm talking
Taliban.
about.
That's what I talk about when I mean hard-headed right wingers.
Well, I'm talking when I
So-
say hardliners, I'm talking about Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I mean, dude. You don't know what hardline right wingers are, because if you think these guys in Israel are like hard, most of these people talk to ask him about what he thinks about LGBT rights. What he thinks about most of them are center left, maybe center right. At best, there is no real. I mean, like when they talk about in America, all these right wingers, these the alt right. It's like, have you seen these people? Do you know what a right winger really is like? Let me take you to Islamabad and let me have you say some blasphemous shit about Muhammad. Then I'll show you some fanatics. Then I'll show you some
look, when I actually
zealots.
say when I say hardline, I'm not actually saying that they're like absolute fanatics. But what I'm actually saying is that they are. They're not middle ground. They're not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're probably
I've returned. Sorry, I had to leave urgently to say something.
sure. Go for it, Silva.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot if you were mid question asking a question. I forgot it.
Guys,
I was talking about Netanyahu. I was talking about
Netanyahu is the most moderate actor. Every single person in the government, no matter how, you may have a disconnect from the local culture. Every single person, from the very ground to the mid ranks, to the very top, to the cabinet, every single person in Israel, completely quote unquote far right on Hamas right now. No one is different. Ironically, the only moderating party is Benjamin Netanyahu, and I think it's not ideological. I think he's just a natural coward person. It's not even ideological. There were open headlines. This is not classified news. That between 3 to 2 nights ago, all the chief of staff tried to offer Bibi a plan to do a preemptive strike on Hezbollah, to make it a full 1967 med bombing and instantly invade Lebanon, to instantly, in a surprise blitzkrieg, to destroy all Hezbollah. All the army was for it, all the generals were for it, all the cabinet members were for it, only Bibi vetoed it, him alone. And I think it was merely cowardice and not even any ideology or centrism or moderation. There is no more moderate people right now towards Hamas and such. It's not a thing. You're having a disconnect if you say the ultra-Orthodox faction versus the Labour faction. There is no such thing. Everyone are the same now.
Oh wow.
And,
yeah, I mean, as I said, I think Silber is right in that sense, but right now, because they're extremely angry and extremely upset with the situation and what just happened, my general, and this is what has happened previously as well, is that as the months and days go by, they soften, and things then sort of start to slowly, because ultimately they're not going to be able to kill all the Palestinians in Gaza, are they? They're not going to. They're going to destroy
no
a
one,
huge amount of
no one.
infrastructure in of Hamas's infrastructure. Set them back maybe hopefully another 5, 10, or 20 years of trying to build those tunnels up again and build that terrace or network again, and then they sort of
No,
kind of go back.
I think you're incorrect. First of all, no one thinking seriously about doing real physical genocide in Gaza. It's not a thing.
Exactly, it's not going to happen.
But what will happen is that there will be a total war against Hamas. There will be no quarter. There will be no surrender, no ceasefire, no settlement, no agreement. It will be to hunt them down and probably kill 80% of every single Hamas member and take the last 20% as a trophy to POW camps and start trialing them. I'm serious. This is not edgy, hard right talking point. This is what will happen. It will be total war until they're 80% dead, 20% in POW's camp, maybe hanged or maybe life imprisonment. And I think what will happen to Gaza are two options. No one will ever allow Gaza to be ruled by Palestinians, self-rule ever again. It's done. Everything you hear on the media, giving it to the PLO, it's a hoax. No one truly believe it. By the way, it appears that for example, today, Biden visited Israel, if you followed, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He was meant, after the visit in Israel, to go to Jordan to meet Sisi, King Abdallah, and Mahmoud Abbas, and they all snubbed him, and canceled the meeting because my hospital bombing hoax. They are stupid. They are stupid because he came to try to make a diplomatic bloc that after IDF killed Hamas to the last one, metaphorically, they will do instant diplomatic blitz pressure to hand over empty Hamas dead Gaza, hand it over to the PLO. And he wanted to settle the plot with them, but they refused to meet him.
Siba,
So they're stupid.
if you are the Jordanian crown prince or the Saudi crown prince, can you be seen in a room with the US president at this moment in time?
That's a good question.
Well, you can't. You can't. I mean, he's suddenly apparently this thing was announced suddenly out of the blue, right? And they probably agreed. Yes, we'll sort of see him. They probably weren't that keen. I'm not saying that they used the hospital as an excuse. I think that they used that. They sort of said, look, but you can't be seen if you are the Saudi prince or the Jordanian. You can't be seen in the presence of the US president on the day that this happened. Whether it was a hoax or it wasn't a hoax, time will tell. But you can't be seen in his company on this day.
It is
Yeah,
beginning to look like
it's
a
their
hoax.
problems. What can I say? But
There's been a
the
lot
point,
of evidence put forward that it's a hoax.
the point is, this is what will happen to Gaza, and everyone who tells you otherwise is either do not know the Middle East, or is too Western-minded, or don't know the people on the ground, or is deceiving you. Here's the two things that will happen to Gaza, and I will say it to the YouTube algorithm, not an endorsement, only an analysis. And a second and final time, only an analysis, not an endorsement. Here what will happen. Option one, they will kill all Hamas to the last one, and Gaza will be ruined so hard that in practice, Gaza will be hell on earth, and all the Gazan civilians will be like Nagorno-Karabakh. They will forced to choose to live. Like in Nagorno-Karabakh, Gaza will be empty, it will be annexed, and it will be settled. This is the first option, the Azerbaijan/Nagorno-Karabakh option. Many European-minded people who are very liberal will call it a bloodless genocide, if you consider deportation a genocide in your metrics. And the other option is that they will kill all Hamas, conquer Gaza. It will be under Israeli military rule. It will be probably bisected into 4 to 8 parts with walls going through Gaza. Soldiers will patrol on the ground. It will be chemical-filled tent city Islam. and they will just leave very slowly. And and again, it will be the Azerbaijan option, but only extra steps. This what will happen. You can say it's immoral, it's evil, it will not work. This is what the Israeli government is aiming to.
With
You think
respect,
if they will live, if they
with
will live to
respect,
Gaza, if they will live to Sinai, they will ever be allowed to return? And if they will not be allowed to return, Gaza will just sit empty forever?
with respect, I think that's with respect. I don't buy any of that. I'm sorry. With respect, I don't think so. I think this is going to be terribly bloody. Right? It took the Americans months to actually take Mosul, which is a relatively small town in Iraq. I know that what you've said about the sort of command and control and the use of technology and drones and all of that sort of stuff, right? Actually, on the battlefield, right? House to house, I think that is going to be enormously bloody, right? And you can't, once you actually get into that situation, you can't have a nice war. It won't be controlled. It's going to be horrible. And there's going to be atrocity after, there's going to be lots and lots of people dying, lots and lots of people, like people in a basement and a whole load of people sheltering in a basement, and somebody drops a grenade in there or something, or there's going to be a massive loss of life, right? Which is going to set the Middle East aflame, right?
It
This
will
is
happen
Guys,
instantly.
please,
is bad.
pause 1 second, because I just want to show something to Victoria. I'm having a side
bad.
conversation here. Let me just express this to Victoria West. Yeah, there are actually Jews who do not Hasidic and sort of religious Jews who do not believe in the state of Israel. And in fact, these are the pictures of the Jews visiting Iran during Ahmadinejad's presidency at a Holocaust denial. Well, they don't call it a Holocaust denial. They call it the International Conference Review of the Holocaust Global Vision. It was basically a Holocaust denial conference that they held in Iran. I forgot the year. Actually, no, 2006. There we go. 2006. 11th or the 12th of 2006. So, yes, there are Jews who actually don't believe Israel should exist. And that's what Ali Dar was pushing. Sorry, gentlemen. You can carry on now.
Yeah, no. I mean, I take on board everything that you're saying. I think that it's not going to the world would not tolerate the Gaza Strip becoming a huge tent city. They won't tolerate that. They won't tolerate a whole load of Palestinians being deported from their own land out of Gaza into Egypt. They won't tolerate that, right? And it will just inflame passions even more. There's no good solution to this. There's no easy solution to this, right? Whatever they do, it's gonna end bad. There's no good way out of this, militarily, politically, and Banksy's sort of saying, oh well, no, I think it'll all get resolved smart. They have tried for 80 years.
The thing is, no, Ned, I've just noticed a pattern. I've the last 20, 30 years that I've looked at this during my particular lifetime, I've looked at a pattern, and I've noticed this is a pattern with the Intifadas, with all the other attacks. It's always been, yeah, we'll go in, they crush to some extent and destroy infrastructure, and then it'll take another 10, 15 years. For the
Ned, this will be a total war. This will be the Battle of Mosul, 4 times the Battle of Mosul. Just the chemicals on the ground from all the shells will make it unlivable.
Yeah,
for a few years.
Maybe. I mean, as if they do something different this time, it would be surprising.
In WMDs, like regular gunpowder, regular shell chemicals, it will be so many. The area will be unlivable for at least 3 years.
Obviously, the international community would lose their collective shit, and they'll be like, "Oh," but in all honesty, if Israel literally forced all the Gazans to move out and then just showered it with nuclear, what do you call it, like depleted uranium shells or some kind of small tactical nuclear weapon, which made the whole area irradiated like Chernobyl and unlivable. The international community would bitch and moan for a few years, but then they'll just go back to normal. People do.
Look, by the way, I think people don't realize that I'm not saying it is a blackmail, but this is not like 1970s Israel with nothing GDP, nothing area. Israel now is a regional gas field powerhouse. Europe will need the Israeli gas field to import gas to Europe after they are not buying Russian gas, or at least be dependent on it in the near future. Tons of technology is here. Nvidia is basically Israeli company in all but name. Intel is half Israeli in all but name. Tons of weapons. Germany right now buying Arrow 3, which is basically like the Iron Dome but against nukes to defend from Russian nukes. These kind of weapons need weekly software updates. Almost all of the European armies ATGM against tanks. It's the Spike missiles. I could go on and on and on. And and they understood right now that there is starting to be what's starting. It's already here with the Avengers, a new Cold War, and they say we want Israel in our side in this Cold War, and countries, especially after this massacre, which is, by the way, if it kept going for another 24 hours, it would have passed with cruelty and death toll the Bosnian genocide. If it would have kept on for another 24 hours, after this genocide attempt, and that the new Cold War is forming, and they want Israel on their side because of the exotic alleged weapons and all the technology. And what I said earlier, that only 5 countries more or less have this, what I spoke about, the AI connected with the BattleNet, connected with the computers, connected with drone AI, all of this, what I said earlier, the small story, but the drone in the alleyway get bombed by 120 millimeter mortar in 1 minute. After 1 minute he is dead, and not a single person even entered the alleyway. Only 5 countries more or less produce it, in Israel among them. So the world will be far less hesitant to criticize Israel than you think this time.
You want
Especially
to
if, especially if there is no physical
but you want to
genocide.
create. See, yeah. But I see what it is a different country now. It's got 12 million people. It had 3 million in the 1970s, right? And it's an computer superpower, isn't it? It's one of the major centers of computing in the world, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the Intel CPUs are designed in Haifa. If you
You're
buy
right.
Intel
Yeah.
CPU, it's designed in Haifa.
But the thing is that do you really want an Israel that is permanently at war on all fronts? Do you
What do you
really
mean
want that?
permanently? Why permanently? Israel never had a war more than one in a year and a half in 48. That's the longest ever that Israel ever had a war.
No, but I mean, if you know what you were suggesting earlier about sort of just salting the soil. You were actually sort of saying chemicals on the soil making it uninhabitable to live in Gaza, right?
No,
That
I
would
didn't mean on
inflame
purpose as
passions
a
across.
tactic. It would happen naturally because how intense the battle will be.
Guys, listen, thank you so much, but unfortunately, I have to start to end this show because I
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
have
yeah.
to get on the road and go somewhere. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Silver, would you like to give your final thoughts, Ned, and then I'll jump off after that.
I think instantly when the IDF will start the ground invasion to Gaza, Hezbollah will start a total war. Instantly, the IDF will start a total war in the north. I think the aircraft carrier, the America will join, but without troops on the ground, like only planes and only ships bombing without troops on the ground. And it will start a regional war that all the Shia proxies will be annihilated.
Awesome. Thank you. Ned?
I think this is going to end terribly badly. I don't think America's going to get involved in any regard, either on the ground or in the air. I think it will provide technical support and perhaps training. The thing is that I think that this is going to cause, with the best situation, it's going to cause enormous loss of life on both sides. It's going to be a well of sadness,
That's
and
the problem.
that then is going to ripple out and cause all kinds of mayhem and atrocities across the world. It's a really really sad thing. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. By the way, I'm sorry Jupiter and Wendy kind of dropped off before they had their chance as well to give their thoughts. But
Thanks
thank
for
you.
doing this, Banksy.
No
Thanks for doing
problem.
this.
No problem. There's a lot of people asked for it, so I thought I'll drop this one, and hopefully I'll put a pin in it. You're both right that this is not going to end well, and most of the there's going to be a lot of casualties on both sides, and that's the saddest part of it. I don't honestly, genuinely don't want anyone to die, and especially the Palestinians in Gaza, which are going to suffer far more greater losses than Israel will. But this there has to be a better solution, and if Hamas is in this case, I have to put my hand up. There were other eras when Yasser Arafat had his compound bombarded, and I had lots of criticisms for Israel. I've had lots of criticisms for Israel over the years, but this one, I find myself backed in a corner. How can I look at an Israeli father or a mother in the eye and say, well, they killed your kids, but come on, let's have proportionality. So how can you do that? I'd say for any of these Ali Dawas and Mohammed Hijabs and all these Dawa Gandhis in the Speaker's Corner.
Just a Kia. If it would happen to them, they would have done physical genocide to the last baby.
Of course, in a heartbeat.
So it's all takia, all hypocrisy.
But
By the way,
is,
I refuse to debate these people. The debate.
No, there's no debate, because, as I said, you go. I asked the Muslim on Sunday. I said, if they did that to your child. Ultimately, we actually went down the road of Sharia because he was kind of like obfuscating. He wasn't answering the questions. He was trolling. And I said, okay.
If it was Jews or Christians, they would start a total jihad war, kill all the adult men, all the male boys slaves, all the women sex slaves.
But what I mean is, I said, under Sharia, what would be the punishment for the man who killed your child? He's like, well, in the Torah, and he was constantly insisting it was in the Torah as well. It says an eye for an eye. I'm like, well, there you go then. There you go. So, and the funny thing is, what's his name? That commentator, the guy who works for The Spectator, Douglas Murray. He says, well, if we're talking about, equal, everything what Hamas did, that the Israelis should do, so the Israelis should now go find some kind of gathering of Muslims, maybe at a party or a mosque or something, and then take their women.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there.
And start killing their babies. Technically, no. But what I mean is that is equivalent eye for an eye. If the Israelis actually wanted to do eye for an eye, it would be far more atrocious than what they're doing. That's the irony. They don't even want to, kill Hamas in an eye for an eye situation to do what Hamas did to them. They're being, I think, far more reasonable about it. And don't get me wrong, it's still wrong. I don't want anyone to die. I don't want anyone to die. But how can you avoid that?
There's no good solution to this. It's been really good talking to you, Seba.
Silver is, by the way, Silver, you have a channel, right?
It pretty much it may get private soon.
I know, but you guys,
I may go to as a guest more often instead.
Do you and Mossad, is that the channel you both used to put stuff on, right?
Yeah, it may get privatized soon.
It's a shame because, they used to do some shows that were really good, really informative. I think you guys should fire that up because right now this is a hot topic, that region. And
the algorithm is too repressive on YouTube. All YouTube are infected by...
What about Rumble?
The old YouTube are infected by neo-Nazis at this point.
Yeah.
What about Rumble?
Yeah, but I think you guys have really good value. I mean, every time I listen to you, I listen to Mossad. Mossad jumps on Ralph's stream from time to time as well. He's actually been on here as well. Because you guys are on the ground, you're there. And it is so much more valuable to get on the ground information than second-hand, third-hand from medias and stuff. I by the way, I do follow Avi Yemeni as well from Rebel Media. I don't know if you guys know. I think Silva,
Rebel Media is still a thing.
Sorry?
Rebel Media is still a thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're still going. They're big in Canada. They're big in Australia.
Trudeau would have got rid of them long ago.
I know, but no, they're still going.
Camp.
for as long as Canada is quote unquote a free country, they're still out there. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Is it Ezra Levine? Yeah, I think it's the one
Yeah.
who owns it. He had some dodgy, things come out about the way Rebel Media utilizes the people that they get emails
Don't
from.
they all at this point? They discovered Project Veritas was a degenerate orgy office, and Stephen Crowder issues,
Yeah, with his
Owen
wife.
Benjamin, Owen Benjamin,
Yes.
basic,
Why can't you
basically,
go on Cyber? Why can't
why
you go on?
Why
Why
American
can't you go on
conservatives are so
Rumble?
degenerate?
Why can't you
Yeah.
go on Rumble?
I guess you have to build that
They'll,
up again.
Cyber,
You have
Cyber.
to.
Why can't you go on Rumble?
Yeah. You guys could.
they, they have it's too niche, and all the time, all the neo Nazis gang up on you, and they go
Oh, I
like,
see. No, I didn't know. I didn't know
It
that. I
it
didn't know
is
that.
it is very free speech, but
Oh,
yeah, you
right.
have to
Really.
navigate
So you
some of
just
that.
get you get a load of nutters on there, do you?
Well, I mean, yeah, Rumble is actually free speech, but unfortunately, with most free speech platforms, the first group that adopts it is obviously those who've been chucked out of all the other social media platforms, which usually includes a shitload of Nazis. Yeah, the Nazis and the pedos are the ones you have to expulge from your platform very quickly, because you'll find, oh my god, they've all gathered. I had the same experience with Speakers Corner Online. There was just a ton of Nazis and kiddie fiddlers nonsense on there, and then we had to
you
like.
refer allegedly to Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab, or like
Oh,
Nembla
don't
kind
go
of
there.
people.
I disavow that comment.
Disavow,
I am-
disavow. But no,
No,
but it's
allegedly.
true. It's true. All new platforms have to go through that. They have to expunge, the Nazis and or at least, I mean, I don't mind Nazis in the sense that they're just like, yeah, they want to be edgy, but it's like, when they're like really, really just all the time, and they just start talking about, we need to get rid of the certain groups of people, this people and that people, and it's like, dude, but by the way, you do realize this is something that most people don't seem to realize with when you create your own social media. We got messages because we have apps. We have a Google app and a Apple and Apple app, and we get emails from those companies telling us that we've noticed X, Y, and Z speeches on your platform, and if you don't delete these accounts, we will have to remove you from the App Store or the Play Store. So, in an indirect way, even though we're not on an Apple platform, we're not on YouTube, we've got our own, social media platform. They still control you if you want to be on their app stores. So that's how they kind of backdoor manipulate social media. So if you are ever on these social media, if you think you can go ahead and create your own social media platform and be free of Google and Apple or YouTube or Facebook's restrictions, believe me, there are lots of backdoors.
In theory, there is no restrictions on Telegram, if I'm correct. But isn't this belong to some Russian person?
It is. It is.
Who-
It's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
Russian guy.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
I
you need
thought
to
that was
assume that the KGB have a backdoor
I
to
think,
everything
yeah,
about
well, the
absolutely.
Telegram.
KGB haven't been in operation for the past 30 years.
But some kind of Russian intelligence or the Chinese.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you talk to Ali Dawah?
Who,
'Cause,
me?
I mean, no,
Oh, Ned.
Sibo. Why wouldn't you
Oh,
talk to
sorry.
Ali Dawah?
Me? Why?
Yeah, why wouldn't you talk? Because the exchange of views. I mean, I know that you're going to disagree on everything, but if you had a good faith
You
conversation,
don't get it. There is no debate anymore. Debates are up. Debates are over. Now it's war.
It's
well, haven't
just,
you and I had a debate today? Haven't you and I had a debate?
it's a conversation. I don't
What
think
we have
this is
to
a
debate
debate.
about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What you guys have largely agreed, so it's more of a conversation of exchange of information than it is a debate as
You
such.
know, but I'm becoming more and more black-pilled on debates as a whole. You saw Muhammad Hijab and Piers Morgan, I think, last
That
night,
was
2 nights ago.
ridiculous.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with
He literally did. He came with suit and 1980s ultra large glasses and all the proposed and
The
all
glasses.
this first course in philosophy major kind of words to be
Oh
fake
my
intellectual.
god! Oh
But
my god!
what he really did, it was literally Reddit debate me brought here stuff that everything Pierce says is like 1 trillion out of 10 radical autistic skepticism to a degree you cannot believe anything. Like a friend will tell me, I was in a swimming pool yesterday to see hot women and to work out. Then I tell him, no, you were not in the swimming pool, you were in the supermarket. And then he tells me, no, here's the ticket to the swimming pool. No, that's an old ticket, you bought it last week. And then he tells, look, it's you can see it's a bit wet, I held it with wet hands. No, you had water spilled on your wallet. If you employ this out, literally, first Enlightenment philosophers like Immanuel Kant understood this is pure retardation and sophistry, although you could go as early as Immanuel Kant and so on.
Yeah, but
but it was also rules for me, but not for me. Everything Piers Morgan says, it's a radical autistic skepticism that you cannot believe anything with this method of epistemology. But everything he says, it's like the meme, it was revealed to me in a dream, a source cited, and you put a pipe, these memes. So it's all hypocrisy. It's all debate.
All of Ali Dawa's sources were from trustmebro.com.
Yeah, but at least you had a chance to hear what he had to say. And I know you may sniff at that, but at least I didn't agree with a lot of what he said, and I thought an awful lot of it was performative, that he was performing to his base, to his base audience,
but
right?
by the way,
he wasn't interested
No.
in Piers Morgan.
Yeah,
Please, just let me land. He wasn't interested in actually trying to persuade me of his viewpoint. He was performing for the benefit of his base audience.
But that's how it
right? The
all
people
is.
that normally supported him. And I thought an awful lot of that was performative. But I watched it in fraud because I was interested to find out what he had to say, what his line of attack was, what his arguments were, right?
Yeah, I was about to say.
There's intelligence in that, man.
I was about to say that this is a topic to a whole other stream if Banksy is interested in this stream about the culture war of Islam connected to this war. I think these people are truly delusional, truly in a bubble. If you go to Arabic Twitter in Arabic or English-speaking Dawa Twitter, they truly believe they got the narrative. People know the IDF is evil this time. They are completely disconnected from reality because they became buddies with this Gen Z pseudo-fascists like Keith Woods and so on, or all this deranged Russia simp pseudo-communist like this person.
Surely you accept that, don't you? We've all got our own delusions. I've got my truths that I perhaps might not be truths. No,
Well,
you don't agree?
You think?
No, you don't think?
Okay, here's a question. You saw I think both Ned and Banksy saw the interview, Piers Morgan and Mohammed Hijab.
Yeah.
How many people do you assume saw the interview, and thought, oh, Mohammed Hijab is rational, normative person with normal views, and he taught me the truth, and Piers Morgan deceived me, and this is not as I thought, and Hamas is more in the right than Israel.
That's not the point. You actually saw somebody that was actually promoting a point of view that I don't agree with, but you don't often see expressed.
No, okay.
And
Let me tell you what Mohammed Hijab's interview was with Piers Morgan. You hear me, brother? The thing you don't realize is that I come from the heavens and the earth, and I will crush him in the ring when I bring the elbow upon him. That's what fucking Mohammed Hijab's interview with Piers Morgan was. It's called WWE Debate. That's all it is. That's all it was.
Base. But it was his base, and as a complete outsider,
his base are fucking morons, dude. His base are basic. That's the problem with Mohammed Hijab. He's appealing to Neanderthals.
Banksy, what do you think Ali Dawa IQ is allegedly? Your alleged guest?
Sorry?
Yes.
Ali Dawa?
What is your alleged guess to the Ali Dawa IQ? I don't think he passed 87, 88.
Ali Dawa, I will tell you this. I mean, Mohammed Hijab actually would probably break 100 IQ. Ali Dawa under
110.
let me Ali Dawa under any other scenario if it wasn't the 20th the first century, the year 2023, Ali Dawa in the 19th century would be hauling fucking hay and bales of hay onto a back of a donkey-driven cart in some ass end of Egypt. That's what Ali Dawa would be doing. Ali Dawa has to thank Allah every day of his life, kiss Allah's ass that Allah gave him the opportunity to grow up in Britain and to make the kind of money that he makes from spouting his moronic opinions online.
Doesn't make money. He gets foundations for Muslim Brotherhood,
Yeah.
Jihadi, and jails in
But
Qatar.
whatever
Turkey.
scenario it is, Ali Dawa's actual job that equates to his mentality is to get a pitchfork and bale hay onto a back of a donkey-driven cart. That's what he qualifies for. That's his job. He is just unbelievably lucky that he is where he is in the position that he has. It's unbelievable.
You can't survive at Speaker's Corner at his level of celebrity without having. You don't get to be where he is.
Yes.
You don't get to.
Yes, you do,
don't
Ned.
get to get all the glittering prizes that he gets,
Ned.
right? Without being sort of having some modicum of intelligence.
No, you
now,
don't.
Come on.
You can absolutely, Ned. I'll give you. You know,
You think this
Modine.
you think this is a real business? This operation is funded by the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah, they're all fronts
They build the
for some
studio,
kind of
they
jihadi
build
group.
the
Sure,
studio,
I
they
can.
build the studio, they bring the editors,
Yeah.
they write them script. The person is basically an actor for Telemport.
Yeah. But one thing I will tell you, Ned, Modine has 170,000 followers on TikTok. Modine has 170,000 followers. What do I need to say any more? Do I need to say any fucking more? I don't need to even make any other comment. Modine is a celebrity. So
Wait,
we
Ned,
live in a
Ned,
we
you
live in a
think-
time of
Ned, you-
insanity.
Ned, you think Muhammad Hijab edit his video? You think he writes his own script? You think he picks his own clothes? He set up his own IT guy? And you think that he makes enough of money to fund IT, clothes, effects, sound, editors, and scriptwriters from the money he genuinely makes? Of course not. It's all operation. The guy is an actor for jihadi brainwashing network, and that's it.
If you've seen any, I must confess that I've never seen him in the flesh. I've only seen him on YouTube at Speaker's Corner, but he does seem to be able to fly by the seat of his pants. He does seem. I'm talking about Muhammad Hijab. He does seem to be able to think on his feet.
Look.
He does seem to take a lot of people. I don't agree with his viewpoints. I think a lot of it is performative, and it's performing for
Of course it is.
his supporters.
Of
right?
course, but Hijab is a slightly higher caliber than Ali Dawa. I will give you
Yeah, but
that.
we
He's a
agree
bit more
that he's a-
educated, but he is still
Yeah,
an idiot.
we agree that he's over 100 IQ here. It's not.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
He is capable of potentially running a checkout at a Tesco's. So I will give him that. But mostly he's an idiot. He's verbose as hell, and exactly what Silber said when he was discussing with Piers Morgan. He uses debate tactics. He doesn't. He's actually studied debate tactics, and he implements them.
It's not debate like how
Fallacies.
to convince a person. It's literally debate me, bro, retardation.
Yeah. But he does
It's
that.
like
But he
the
knows that
Reddit-
his audience are going to eat that shit up because he didn't go there. As I said to you, he didn't go there to actually have an honest conversation
who
with
does also
Morgan.
that, who also does this debate me, bro, trash all the time? You probably know him, Daniel Kikachu.
Oh my
the Persian.
God, that pervy son of a
It's
bitch.
always
That
debate
guy is
people.
going to get caught. He's another fucking Epstein, Jimmy Savile. He's going to get caught short at some point.
Careful.
Allegedly.
No,
Allegedly. No,
Ned,
Ned,
I don't
this
even
is...
know who this is.
No.
I don't even know who this guy
This
is. right?
Daniel Hikikachu is obsessed with child marriages.
it's not.
I'm not joking. He's
no,
done it on multiple debates. He's done multiple debates. I know, Ned. You don't want to. You go watch anything Daniel Hikikachu has done.
No.
He is absolutely obsessed with 9-year-old marriages. It's unbelievable.
Forget about the 11-month-year-old precocious puberty gotcha that he got in that debate.
Yeah.
The point is, he's also a debate me, bro, moron, because he always does every single debate with Daniel Kikachu. It's always like that. He says, 18th century puritanical classical liberalism is flawed somewhat. You believe in a single classical liberal idea. Therefore, you are 100,000% wrong in every single opinion you have because you believe in at least one classical liberal view. Therefore, you're always correct about everything. You are incorrect about everything. And if you abuse me, you are and do not abuse me because it will break classical liberal law at the same time. This is every single debate with him. Like
Look,
he says, you against child marriages because you are secretly crypto secular liberal.
that's it.
Therefore, all children should be married by 4-year-old, or everyone will become classical
You see Matt
liberal.
Dillahunty just get mad. He says, "Look, just don't fuck kids."
But if you shout at me, I will call the police because you're abusing my rights.
I know, but Matt Dillahunty just lost his shit. He's like, "Look, just stop fucking kids. What's wrong with you?"
Why no one ever in this debate returned this retardation back to him? Like
He's
you tell him, he
fucking
tells
weird.
you, if
Well,
you do,
disavow. I don't even
if you
know who
do,
this guy is.
Yeah.
Please
Ned,
don't.
Ned, I will send you some links to Daniel Hikikachu, and you can
No,
go
I
ahead
don't
and
want to
kill
look
some
at
brain
any-
cells
I don't want to-
on this
no, I mean,
fucking
no.
weirdo.
yeah, for example, why no one
No,
ever
no,
in a debate with him?
let's leave this gentleman alone. Can I please?
The
Can I
dude
just go back?
is freaking weird.
Okay. Can I
You
just
know,
go back to an
I
original
have
point?
huge disdain. I
Yeah,
have
sorry,
huge
can I just go
disdain.
back to Can I just go back to original point? Cyber, if you actually look at Mohammed Hijab and you put him up against like Douglas Murray, or you put him up against Ben
Oh, I
Shapiro,
would love it.
can you imagine what would actually happen?
I would love it.
But it's always the same shtick. It's the Daniel Pikachu shtick. He tells him, classical liberalism is not perfect ideology. You believe in at least one classical liberal belief. Therefore, you are incorrect about everything. This is always their shtick.
But it's not just that. He will use first of all, he'll be verbose as crap, hell, and he will use dishonest debating tactics. Mohammed Hijab actually edited one of his debates in order to make himself look favorable.
With this cringe vegan British person.
Yeah, but what I mean is,
Have you just called me a cringe British person?
no, it's the debate that he had. He edited one of his debates, Mohammed
Cosmic
Hijab.
Skeptic.
Yeah, Cosmic Skeptic.
Yeah.
He debated Cosmic Skeptic, and then he edited his video in order to make himself look favorable. He cut it up.
Yeah, and also always when he does any debate with a deist or secular person, he always go to my foundation, bro. Look, I do not think that debate about foundation is vain discussion. Of course, it should be discussed in serious philosophical debate arenas.
Yeah.
But it's just hereditary retardation that every single claim, if the person is secular, you go to my foundation, bros. If you go to like a British secular deist and he says I'm against pedophilia, show me your foundation, bros.
I know. The thing is, that's what I mean. He uses these loophole kind of debate tactics. That's why I think these guys are dishonest. These are not honest actors. They don't actually. And he also debated David Wood as well, and he used similar sort of crap there. So this is the problem, Ned. When you say if he would debate, Ben Shapiro or Douglas Murray, he's a dishonest person. First of all, he probably wouldn't even take those debates from those people. Or if he does, he will create an environment. He will set up the debate scenario in such a way, just like Cosmic Skeptic. Cosmic Skeptic wanted to record his own videos of the debate. They didn't allow him. They said, "Oh no, it's okay. We've got all the professional setup. We'll just give you the footage afterwards." They didn't give him the footage, and they only gave him access to the edited version that they produced.
I saw the video. They also removed this comment from the YouTube.
Sorry, just a second. Did you actually notice that when he started the conversation with Piers Morgan, he was very keen to say this is going to be an honest debate. I forget the term.
Yeah. We're going to have an honest, a fair debate. A fair debate
where it's not going to get edited. It's nothing's going to get taken out.
And yet he himself is the biggest liar of that. And he's the one who does those tactics the most.
I'm going to say a harsh statement, not harsh as extremist, but I think it's harsh in general, that debate as a whole is total cancer. Once you agree to go to this like duel style tactics, that there is a judge and you sit and you have like you go online and see the fallacies list and the Gatia list, it's just become a sophistry duel. Real quote unquote debates is like Joe Rogan speak to a person he disagree with, but it's semi debate, semi body talk, and it's like natural flow. Like if I will start right now to talk with Banksy, that for just as an example, as a hypothesis, Banksy will be center leftist economy and I'm center right, and we talk like that. And I say an example, he says an example, then there is a joke, and then another example. This is real debate that people truly open to conversation. Once me and Banksy have a duel with modern day debate, and he brought the fallacy list Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I brought my own fallacy list Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's pure mental masturbation. Nothing will come out of it. It's time wasting.
Silver. I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to go like 20 minutes ago, and we've already gone well over. I just want to quickly point this out to you. Now, I've spoken about this years and years ago on my other original Banksy style channel. No one gave a shit. No one took a notice of it. This is something a friend of mine introduced. After decades of debating, we decided debating. This is why I came on YouTube and I just trolled everyone at Speaker's Corner, because I was done with debates. This is called the Six Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono, and this was a system devised to actually share ideas in order to actually get information that is useful to an individual amongst groups of people. So you sit down with a group of people and essentially, or not even a group of people, just two people, but you can, what they call these hats. You got the blue, white, red, black, yellow, and green hat. And every time you put on this hat, you have to then take on that perspective. So at one point you have the big picture and managing facts and information with the white hat, feelings and emotions, negative, positive, and new ideas. So what happens is essentially during the conversation, at one point I take your position and you take my position, and then we switch around and we do all of these different things. There's a whole system involved, but it is about how to exchange information which you would then walk away with new information or new knowledge or a new perspective, rather than the WWE, how I will bring the elbow from the top rope and I crushed Piers Morgan and the gods cheered and the lightning struck across the sky as Allah laughed heartily when I destroyed Piers Morgan on his show. That's the bullshit that you get at Speaker's Corner. This is a very complex, it's not that complex, but it's a relatively complex system of human exchange of information. I come to you with my ideas and my perspective. You give me your ideas and your perspective, and I will try to put myself in your shoes and see the world from that perspective. And if
I once had to sit on a fucking course where I learned this for a fucking day.
There you go.
That's a day I will never get back, and it's something I never fucking use. But just getting back to what Siva was actually saying about look. You came in and I put forward a whole load of ideas and you shot me down. You sort of said, no, that's not right. That's incorrect. And because of that, my knowledge has been taken forward. Now, you may not like me. You may not like my points of view. But I feel personally that I've actually grown a little bit. I've actually learned from listening to you by putting ideas forward and you challenging them and sort of saying, no, it's not like that at all. And I think that's the value of conversation.
They may be misunderstanding. I'm not anti-intellectual, anti-talking about ideas. I just mean the official debate duel, like in modern day debate, 2 hours, 15 minutes summary, 15 minutes rebuttal. Everyone brings his own Yu-Gi-Oh! Debunked card. This is cancer.
Exactly. No, it's true.
This is Moot and Bailey. I pull from my deck the Moot and Bailey fantasy. He says,
Pikachu, I choose you.
I pull out of my trap card, the Pill to Emotion trap card. So
but you knew that he fucking lost as soon as he turned around and said, you didn't say that I'd gone to Oxford.
I know. It's, no. Why didn't you introduce me instead of the radical YouTuber, the Oxford graduate?
The fucking Oxford. And that's
So,
something
my
I
point
can't
is like
ever remember any fucking Oxford graduate ever fucking standing up, having standing up saying, please say, please say that I went to Oxford.
Oh, I swear to God.
didn't Mia Khalifa came to Oxford to give a lecture.
The
So
thing is, his core audience, like you said, Ned, will eat that up. They'll absolutely love it. There'll probably be a million comments under that video. Oh, you destroyed him, Ali, when you said to him, "Why are you stuttering? Why are you stuttering, sir? Tell me. Answer the question. Answer the damn question."
he was shaking.
They
He
all,
was shaking.
yes,
Boy.
yeah. They all think it's that scene from A Few Good Men where he goes, "I want the truth. You can't handle the truth."
You don't get it. I tell you, you don't get it. Muhammad Hijab is God of War addict. He plays it 6 hours per day in his studio. You see how he says, "Boy."
I know.
It's all God of War.
No, it's not that. He says boy, and then he puts his hand on men constantly. He touches people so much that people had to start telling him, "Could you stop touching me?"
If you get a chance, if you've not seen it, there's one particular. I don't know whether it's still on YouTube, but there is a debate with a guy called Kane. That's Kane, and Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawa. And this guy, I can't remember what it's called, but it's at Speaker's Corner. It's Kane, and this is this.
Oh, Kane is the black chap. He's the black Christian.
Oh,
yeah, and he always talks about Muhammad's marriage. Yeah. Kane is a big man. He hasn't been around for a while though.
No, I did. But if you ever get a chance, Seba, actually have a look. It'll do you a world of good. It'll really make you laugh.
Yeah. I've seen Kane the debate. I was at Speaker's Corner when Kane used to come.
It's becoming unwary because all the Dawa channels becoming more and more apocalyptic. Go to one Islam and such, one path, one Islam, one truth. All of them right now are all apocalyptic prophecies, video uploads and sermons. I think they are becoming a bit edgy about the upcoming war right now. Yeah. So how the European rights love to say, if we are so afraid, it means that we are doing something correct now.
Yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, I am done. I have to go. I am literally fucking late now for the shit I needed to do tonight. Gotta.
Yeah, okay, nice talking to both of you. Take care.
It's a pleasure, gentlemen. As always, I will jump off. You guys can. You guys can.
Don't worry about me. I'm in an area with not a lot of terror shelling. I think I only got few rockets at me, not that much.
That's good. Please, Silber and Mossad, keep safe and try to protect your families as much as you can. And I hope this whole thing gets better sooner than later, but I do fear that I don't think this is going to get better soon. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But thank you. Banksy just jumped on. Sorry, mate. I got to go. I literally have a hard stop. I should have gone 20-30 minutes ago. I'm sorry. I can't let anyone else on the panel. But I'm going to drop off, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. And let's do this soon. And Silver, that idea is good. Let's do that, what he said earlier on. Okay, gentlemen and ladies, we are done. We are done again. I wanted to show this one video clip because it involves Iranians. This was the Iranians, because there's a group of Iranians who are protesting the Islamic Republic of Iran all the time, and they're set outside the Home Office in just around the corner from 10 Downing Street, and they have flags on their canopies. They've got these canopies and sort of areas set out with tents and stuff because they've been there like over 300 days. And so they have an Israeli flag, they have a Iranian flags, but the Shah Iranian flags, and they also have like a Ukrainian flag. They have quite a few different flags. I don't think they have a Palestinian one though. So the Palestinian protesters on Saturday came and they saw the Israeli flag, and this is what happened. You see, they tried to steal the Israeli flag, and they managed to grab one of them. They have two of them. They managed to grab one, but then the Iranian guy who's actually been out there protesting for 300 days, he actually ran up to get the flag back, and he got the flag. You see, he got the flag back, and he ran into the corner where they are. As you can see up here, this is where the Iranians are with the tents and all their chairs and stuff that they have, and other people. The police are protecting him, and yeah, and these Palestinian hordes, the mob just starts gathering. But yeah, as you can see in the back, he's there with his flag. He was actually on GB News for it as well. Ah, there you go. Did you see the Iranian on GB News? This is it. This was the guy, Noah. Yeah, as you can see above, they've got the Iranian flag, the old Shah's Iranian flag, the British flag, and the Ukrainian flag, and a couple of Israeli flags. But yeah, no, these Palestinian supporters couldn't have that. Excuse me. Now, I showed you guys, I think, images of my footage on this was the Palestinian supporters in London. Hold on.
I don't know. Sound check. Something's happening. Okay.
As you can,
Shit's getting real, people. Okay. Shit's getting real, people. Something's happening.
yeah, that's Palestinian protesters. Look at this. This was the Israelis. There's the Jews protesting, and by the way, this was another protest outside the BBC. The vicious, the just demonic Jews. Look at the way they behaved outside the BBC. It's disgraceful. Look at the violence. Look at the violence that these uncivilized Jews are just violence. These Israelis, it's just shocking. Shocking. Where would you feel safer? Just as an outsider, where would you feel safer? Which protest would you feel comfortable in?
I believe soon they're going to be starting their speeches and everything else on the podium, which is over there. We'll keep you guys there posted as we go.
Oh, by the way, this is Mehra Torsi, who is also an Iranian chap who does, obviously, his Mehra Torsi TV. Big up Mehra Torsi. Full credits to Mehra Torsi. Let me scroll up. There you go. You can see the name. The just is shocking. The disorder, the just the way they behave is unbelievable. I mean, you know, they should all do more of this. Yeah. Yeah, this is Banksy Star Live. Full credit to Banksy Star Live. Moi. Yeah, that's right. I was there on the front lines, motherfucker. Yeah, people. Okay.
Shit's getting real, people.
Yeah, go check out the rest of it for yourself. Like and subscribe, people. Like and subscribe. Yeah, hit that like button. You see that? Hit that like button, and subscribe and do all the other good things and share it by all means. Feel free. Put it on the mainstream news. That's it, boys and girls. I think that is all I have for this evening. I am so late. Holy shit! I should have left. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thanks for everyone on the panel. Jupiter, Wendy, Ned, big up Ned. He came on right at the beginning. Silver, and of course the based Welshman. Go also like and subscribe to both Jupiter Ascends. Oh my god, I don't know how many Jupiter accounts she's got. Go look up Jupiter Ascends for sure, and then find her other channels because I forgot the rest. Wendy Wu and based Welshman, they all have channels. Silver does have a channel, but he doesn't want to, I guess, promote it, or he doesn't really have much on it anymore. Thank you, Pavlov. Thank you, everyone in the chat. There's just too many of you. Just know that I love you all, and I will leave you with a song of which actually is Bayam Rabin in Palestina. I don't know, but it sounds kind of Palestinian. So it's a kind of a Jewish Palestinian song. Thank you, everyone. If I don't speak to you before the weekend, have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and keep yourself safe. Please, if you're a God believer, pray for the children of Israel and Palestine. They are both innocent, and none of them need to die. This is a sad situation, and this is something I wanted to say to anyone out there who cheers the death of any side. This is sad. This is sad only, as the quote from the movie Avatar. There is no cheer in this. There is no happiness in this situation. This is only sad. Don't cheer anyone. Don't praise anyone. Anyone who kills a child is just the sad thing that happened. And I honestly mean that. And I hope to whatever deities are in the world, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, but I just hope that humanity prevails and that we can find a way to get along. I really do. And I know it's hard, and I know we have differences, but I think we have more similarities amongst ourselves than differences, and I genuinely hope for a day where we understand that and we cherish each other's lives and each other's children. So yeah, if you're a God believer, please send a prayer over to the Israelis and the Palestinians, because their children deserve to live like everyone else. Anyway, but in all honesty, fuck Hamas. Fuck Hamas. Fuck Hezbollah, and fuck the Republic of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran. Fuck the Islamic Republic God of Iran. Fuck all the mullahs in Iran. They can all kiss my ass. But either way, yeah, the children should be saved. Anyway, peace. I'm sorry, this song is awful. I'm going to play this one. L'chaim. Shalom.